Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Town of Greenwich Planning and Zoning Commission. We are holding this meeting virtually on Tuesday, September 16th. And we will now begin with our final, well, before we begin with the final agenda, you'll have to sit tight through all the postponements we have for this evening because there's quite a few. First, Delta Romeo LLC for a final site plan and special permit at 173 Parsonage Road. TCS Realty, 2 applications, one for a zoning map amendment and one for a final coastal site plan and special permit. That is the Toyota dealership at 75 East Putnam Avenue. That's actually it for the postponement. So there we go. And with that, we will
What happened to
begin.
Mead Point?
Oh, did I skip it? Oh, yeah, I did. Mead Point LLC, which is number 2, 618 Indian Field Road, has also been postponed. That's for revisions to the previously approved site plan. The commission did a site visit on this on Friday. And they're still working on the application. So that's the last one. Thank you very much, Dennis. See what happens when you get reappointed?
That's why he gets paid the big bucks.
That's why he's been reappointed.
I just felt like I beat Peter to it, and that's a
You did.
mini victory, but it's important in my life.
Okay. With that, our first item is from SE Minor, is representing. And 618 Lake Avenue LLC for a preliminary subdivision at 618 Lake Avenue. This is to convert a 12.3 acre property into 3 parcels with 2.04 acres of open space. Madam Orsi, if you would proceed.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Good evening, everyone. Rachel Orsi from SE Minor on behalf of the applicant for 618 Lake Avenue. We are seeking preliminary subdivision approval for a 3-lot subdivision that emphasizes minimal site disturbance and meaningful open space preservation and continuity. Am I able to share a presentation that we have today?
So,
Yep. Go ahead.
Thank you. Okay, is everyone able to see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So this proposal is for a 3-lot subdivision on a 12.3 acre property in the 2 acre zone. This layout includes a 15% open space parcel thoughtfully located at the front of the site. From the outset, we approached the design with care, prioritizing environmentally sensitive and minimizing site disturbance. While the site could mathematically support up to 5 lots, our client has chosen not to maximize the split, recognizing the property's environmental features and constraints. The proposed layout carefully considers topography, wetlands, FEMA flood zones, existing development, the town's POCD, and subdivision and building regulations. A key design feature is the reuse of the existing driveway as a shared access for all 3 lots. This significantly reduces new impervious area and further impact near wetlands and the flood zone. Use of this shared driveway requires a variance from the Zoning Board of Appeals, which we are planning to pursue after your preliminary approval. We are left with what we believe is the best layout of the property, which provides 3 lots, a 15% open space parcel, and the protection of natural resources. So far, we have presented to the Conservation Commission and attended the P&Z briefing yesterday. Today, we are before you for preliminary subdivision approval. Following that, the next steps include a ZBA application for the shared driveway, IWWA review and approval, and ultimately coming back to you for final subdivision approval. We'd like to take a moment to clarify some items in the conservation memo that was included in the staff report. The memo appears to combine comments from both the Conservation Commission as well as the staff. At the Conservation Commission hearing on Thursday, September 9th, the discussion focused mainly on requests for more details regarding grading and tree removals. A question was raised at yesterday's briefing regarding whether Lot 3 was discussed as a potential open space. We believe that this was a staff comment, not a Conservation Commission comment. And to clarify, that question was not raised during the Conservation Commission hearing, nor was it discussed with the commission.
Say again?
I believe in the staff report and also during the briefing yesterday, there was a question of whether Conservation Commission discussed with us as the applicant if we considered Lot 3 as the open space. And I just wanted to clarify that that question was never raised at the Conservation Commission hearing. That was only included in the conservation staff report that was sent around, I believe, on Friday. Just wanted a point of clarification. But we did evaluate multiple areas for open space, including the rear of the property near Lot 3. Although wooded, the rear area contains many invasive species and lacks public accessibility. Ultimately, we proposed the front of the property for the open space because it best meets the goals of the POCD and provides protection of natural resources, including wetlands, watercourses, and flood zones. It includes biodiversity, including a mix of wetlands, uplands, meadows, and forest. It provides habitat value and supporting species such as wood ducks, which were observed multiple times utilizing this area. It has recreational value and access as it is directly accessible from Lake Avenue. It also has curb appeal, which enhances the streetscape and has floodwater storage given the presence of the FEMA flood zones and a mapped floodway.
Take a deep breath, Ms. Orsi. You have 3 hands up. I think it's a good time to break for it, if you wouldn't mind.
I do just have 2 other points that I would like to make, and then I finish with my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any other questions if that's okay.
If that's what you wish to do.
Okay. Our proposed open space would also contribute to the regional conservation goals, more specifically the connectedness of open space. The only immediately abutting parcel that is dedicated open space is the very recent lot line adjustment and donation of 608 Lake Avenue to the Greenwich Land Trust, which occurred in January of this year. Before then, all adjoining properties were buildable single-family lots, and the closest open space parcel is over the pond in the Cacomwood Association, which is not contiguous to our property. During the review of the subdivision of the 608 and 610 Lake Avenue subdivision, which was recently this year, the conservation staff supported the lot line revision and the donation and conveyance of the revised 608 Lake Avenue to the Greenwich Land Trust. It was in both the conservation and wetlands notes during this review that 608 and 610 share a mapped watercourse, and it's crucial that that watercourse and buffer area be maintained and protected. Our proposed open space parcel would further enhance protection and ensure connectedness to the watercourse and buffer that flows through our property and onto 610 and 608 Lake Avenue. With that, we believe this proposal demonstrates a balanced, environmentally sensitive approach to a subdivision, and it reflects a thoughtful approach to preserve key natural features. It supports the term's long-term conservation goals. It limits development impacts, and it adds a meaningful, viable, visible open space along Lake Avenue. And we respectfully request your preliminary subdivision approval tonight, so that way we may proceed with the next steps in the process. Thank you.
Okay, if you would take down the share. Mr. Lowe first.
Yes. Working backwards, I don't believe visible open space is a priority. And I do believe that trying to link up neighboring open space tracts is a goal. And just to be clear, the P&Z staff reported to the commission all the concerns of conservation, including that the applicant reconsider the rear portion of the lot as a designated open space. I wasn't at any meeting to which you allude, but the Conservation Commission was quite clear on their views and their recommendations. Do we have, would be a question for the staff, I think. We discussed it yesterday, maybe producing an exhibit showing the other neighboring tracts of open space. Do we have anything like that today? Or is it too soon?
I have an image in my presentation.
Well,
that-
this question is
was
addressed to
To
the P and
Tracy
Z
and
staff.
Patrick, not to you,
Apologies.
Madam Orsi.
I am at a
Um,
disadvantage because I wasn't there yesterday, so I'm not sure.
Tracy, there's a response we got from Bianca earlier today, but I don't think it covered any of that.
Okay, well, I figured it might be a bit of a stretch to get that in that short time frame, but that would be useful, and we should have that, and so we can discuss the various advantages of moving in the minds of the Conservation Commission of moving the open space
Yeah, Jackie
to the
provided a
rear.
couple
Jackie sent
snippets
us
to
that
you
yeah,
yesterday in the
yeah, let me-
email, I believe.
Pull that out. Yeah, she sent us an email.
Yeah, let me see if I can find, I'm gonna have to go in, because I
I'm
don't think she
working on it
uploaded, I don't think she
now.
uploaded it to the commission
She thinks
OneDrive.
she said she was in her.
I have not
meeting.
seen it, so
Okay, hold on. It was, what time it was this morning?
No, it was just yesterday afternoon.
Oh, it was yesterday afternoon. That's right. Hold on. 10:18.
Maybe about
Okay,
3:30.
response to briefing. Here we go.
Yeah,
Okay, yes, if you go, how do I do this? In response to today's briefing, with the help of the conservation team, the below information helps reinforce conservation's reasoning for the open space parcel to be at the westernmost side of 618 Lake Avenue parcel in order to preserve, enhance, and link ecological systems in the town. It's better if I send this, if I forward this up to you guys, who's better to share the screen?
I have it here. I can share.
Okay,
or we can make sure that the applicant is aware of this and perhaps.
Jackie would have copied the applicant. It's what she does.
Well, the applicant is indicating that that's not perhaps the case, that she hasn't seen it.
Yeah,
In any event, maybe that could be, we don't need perhaps the time spent here to bring everybody up to speed, but happy to do it if we want.
Yeah, if you could send, or if the staff could share that, we have not received anything from Jackie yesterday or today relating to these items.
yeah. Now, I was very clear in the discussions at the briefing yesterday that the Conservation Commission had also asked about relocating the open space. So do they have, did they record their meetings at all? Well, we could check the recording, but I remember the discussion being that Conservation Commission had asked about that. And we actually, our question then to staff was, what had the applicant replied? Conservation Commission asked about it, and what had, and that is my understanding from Beth Evans as well.
Would you like me to respond to that?
Not really, Ms. Orsi, because I'm in a really difficult situation. That Beth Evans has told me that the Conservation Commission has asked something, and she has said that to me. And an applicant tells me differently. I think the right answer then is for you all to sit in a room and figure it out, rather than for us to get into a debate without the Conservation Commission here or Ms. Evans here. So I will leave it to Pat and Tracy or Jackie or whomever and you to figure this out. But Beth Evans was very clear with me that this did come up with the Conservation Commission.
and Rachel, I forwarded that email to you.
Thank you very much. I'd be happy to meet with the staffing and any Beth Evans or other staff members to clarify.
Apparently, the person, if it helps you at all, it was Lizette Henry at the Conservation Commission meeting on the 11th of September, who asked you the question. So maybe you just don't recall it or who made the statement, but it was Lizette Henry.
I recall in her notes that she was asking to consider the connectedness of open space, and you know, to evaluate different areas.
Maybe she didn't make it clear enough, but it was clear to Ms. Evans that she was asking about relocating the proposed open space. So that's our understanding. I would leave this to the professionals to figure it out. Ms. Evans was at the meeting, Patrick, Tracy, Jackie, whomever, but we're not going to play he said, she said here, or she said, she said. Okay, so we're not going to debate you on who's accurate. It is very easy to miss something. In fact, somebody quoted me today on something I've never said. So I was like, okay, I didn't say that. So it happens. And you could have just missed part of the sentence because you were focused on answering. So that does happen to all of us. So when we consider this, just let's resolve it that this is per the Conservation Commission and the Conservation Department. But I'd like to differentiate that both of these groups are advisory to us. So we can take either and both into consideration. Okay, Mr. Lowe, you were talking and then Dennis.
Yeah, no, I'll stop there. I think that's a critical issue, and let others chime in.
Would I be able to respond to the Mr. Lowe's first comment?
Sure, of course. I'm sorry.
That's okay. So as part of the POCD for the open space considerations, being close to the curb or the street is important as it allows for public access. So that's what was considered when we were looking at open space. I understand open connectedness to other open spaces is also important. We'll clarify that comment with conservation, but in terms of what we're proposing now, we think it is connected to via the water course that we're protecting in the front. To the overall Horseneck Brook, which runs through our property, through the neighboring 608, 6010, and further down. So being able to propose the open space in the front, we believe is connected to other protected areas and open space sites in the neighborhood.
Okay. Mr. Yeski.
Yes, I do think this is critical when we brought it up. I wonder if you could bring back the applicants. You showed us a map on certain sections and you quickly went over what you thought was open space. We will go look at these memos, and I'm not talking about who said what said. I'm talking about, I'd like to see what you think open space is on your map. You had a map there before.
Sure.
608, that kind of thing. I know this area, so is there any way you could bring that back up again and point where you believe the open space is today?
Sure. Pat, am I able to? Oh, you already got me. Okay. Okay. Are you able to see my screen?
We are.
So we believe the current open space is recently 608, which was just declared this year. And then there's
We're in
also-
608 though. There's a couple houses there. Is it?
So it's the entire property. Earlier, from my understanding, earlier this year, the property, the shared lot line was actually adjusted, and the entire 608, I believe, was donated to the Greenwich Land Trust. And with the understanding, I believe that the residences and all the site development was to be removed. And then so this entire property, I believe, was donated to Greenwich Land Trust, or at least it was approved through your commission in January. Whether or not it was actually donated yet, I cannot verify that. And then the only other open space in the area that, from my understanding, is, if you could see my cursor, the pond in the Cacomwood Association, which is not directly abutting our property. And then all of these surrounding lots are currently single-family residences.
But 608 doesn't actually touch the area that you are suggesting, right? There's a 610 in between there.
Correct. So as part of the subdivision decision, the subdivision application for 608 and 610, the Conservation and Wetland staff noted that the buffer area around Horseneck Brook in this entire front area is to be protected and maintained as buffer. So with this entire lot as open space, with our proposed open space, we would see that this is connected via the water course, because this also has an upland review buffer here. And I think on On this map, you can see the water course is actually on that smaller GIS, it shows it as almost like a little sliver, but on our property, there's a much larger wetland and water course area that flows across 610 and then through 608, and then it eventually leads to 600, the larger 90-acre parcel to the south.
Could you put the other one back up again for a second? But 610, other than the water course, is not open space, right? Other than the water course going down through there, right?
Mm-mm.
Correct.
Okay. And give me the pond, you jumped over there. I didn't see your cursor. Where is this other open space that you put a cursor on? I didn't see it.
If I don't know if I can annotate. Can you see my cursor?
Yes,
I
we
can't.
can.
Okay, it's this pond, the blue blob.
They're all blue
Okay.
blobs. Is it this one?
This-
The
Yeah,
north
the
of,
one she's moving on, you should probably change what your cursor looks like because it's in the hard to see version. yeah.
okay, I got it. I got it.
Yeah.
I got it.
But
That
in
one.
the, yes, so, but that's not on 618.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, it's in a open space parcel that's near our near our property. But the only immediately abutting open space is the very recently declared, which is 608. Again, I'm not sure if that sale actually went through or did the donation went through to the Greenwich Land Trust, but as far as our records are concerned, it at least was approved through planning and
So
zoning.
let's go back to what conservation wants to do. I know that's a big switch if if Ms. Orsi would take hers down and then I mean, and their argument is a sound one, Ms. Orsi. What they say in their memo is that we get no ecological benefit from the proposal that we currently have before us. That's what they're saying, that there would be greater benefit in protecting the slopes and the trees on this other area.
Well,
That's what their argument
so
is.
protecting the
and-
pond
and-
isn't important.
I'm sorry, Mr. McElroy, I didn't hear you.
So protecting the pond isn't important either.
But
kinda
you
weird.
can't build there, you can't do anything there anyway, Nick, because it's wetlands. So it's already protected by the wetland state law. That's what conservation
And there's
says.
wetlands on lot 3 too. A whole huge buffer of 100 feet for a little piece on the other side of the property
Right,
line.
so that's the thing that we need people, Mike, take Nick and everybody, is that's what we need people to go back and restudy. Which lot, what open space gives us the better ecologic benefit? And two, what is already, where are we strengthening protection of environmentally sensitive areas that exist? And I don't believe that's something that we can answer on our own. Which is better ecologically, which is what Conservation Commission and Department raised. And they also raised this point of where is there already protection so you don't need belt and suspenders, which is, they didn't say belt and suspenders, but for those of us who worked in certain industries, that's a well familiar phrase. So that's the question. So Nick's wondering, you're going to put their open space proposal at risk if you don't have that be open space, and which is stronger or better, which is the better way to go.
Madam Chair, they were
Yeah.
very clear about that, the rear portion, and I believe this is their words, is ecologically valuable, relatively undisturbed, and a better candidate for long-term preservation. I know that's redundant to what you just said, but those are the words they used, I believe, in their report for us.
Was the staff report or the commission, the Conservation Commission minutes?
Conservation report.
Conservation staff report.
Paragraph 1, reconsideration of open space allocation. September 12, Conservation Commission report.
It goes on to talk about the notable trees, including that 50-inch tulip poplar. And it again reiterates the connectivity by linking it to the adjacent open space areas, which they describe as an important consideration in evaluating ecological value.
I have one
I
other
mean-
question, Chair.
Yes, sir.
It's a technical question for us. The 15%, is that a regulatory black and white requirement, or is that just basically how it's evolved?
No more than 15% per our subdivision regulations.
Hmm.
And we are a home rule town, which means that for subdivisions, there is no state law for us. We write our own regulations because we're home rule. And, but that's being said, 15% is the standard statewide. No more than 15% is what the language says in our subdivision regulations.
Okay.
So, okay, let's get through all the raised hands and then we'll figure it out. Tracy,
Hi, good evening. I just wanted to state that the transfer of the land from the 608, 610 Lake Avenue lot line revision has not occurred yet to the Greenwich Land Trust. It's been approved by this commission, but it has not happened yet. And there was no time frame for that. It was a lot line revision, not a subdivision application.
yeah,
So we're
Thank you
at
for
the
that.
mercy of the property owner at this point on that.
okay. All right, Mary,
Yeah, not to continue to say the same thing over and over, but I'm particularly concerned about the quality here because it is such a large piece of property. And we do have very specific things that are required when you're subdividing 10 acres or more. And given the extensive discussion in the Conservation Commission's memorandum of September 12, all of the things they list there are exactly the environmental concerns that we are supposed to look at under A19 under our subdivision regulations. I'm a little concerned about treating a buffer area on private property as somehow an extension of an open space. I'm sure no private property person actually believes that there's any special public easement as a result of having a vegetated buffer on a portion of the property. I'm also a little concerned about having the open space beyond Lake Avenue. It's great that, again, it's visual and you would think that it would include access. I'm sorry, that part of Lake Avenue is not somewhere where someone is going to stop, get out of the car and walk on that property. So the idea of having a road there is theoretical access, but perhaps not, gee, I'm going to get out of my car and spend an hour walking around on this particular property. It also isn't clear to me how much of that property is actual, the proposed open space is actually walkable, because there are already, again, wetlands considerations about having people on it. I'm not sure how much of it is wet, given there is a actual water course through it. So again, it's a big piece of property. There is what the Conservation Commission considers a superior piece of open space property. It just is so environmentally significant that, you know, if it were a toss-up, it would be one thing, but in this case, quite clearly, the rear part of the property has extraordinary environmental impact, and disturbing it because it has ledge and 50-inch diameter trees on it. The destruction of that particular portion of the property is going to have an enormous environmental effect. So the size and considerations are different here. It's not just 15% of an acre, it's 15% of 12 acres. That's all I had, Madam Chair.
Mr. Wells.
Thank you. I just want to follow up on public access and ask Ms. Orsi, you mentioned that would be a benefit of it being near Lake Avenue. Have you planned any paths there or even bridges? Because I think Horseneck Brook goes right through there. And if you had a path, you probably would have to have bridges over both the upper and the lower. Just wondering, has there been any planning done on potential paths, answering Mary Jenkins' question, as well as public access?
Yeah, that's a great question. So since we are in the very preliminary parts of the project, we have not planned out specific paths. In terms of access, there is the existing driveway, which has a bridge over Horseneck Brook on the property, and that would be utilized for the shared drive. From our point, from our perspective, we think that having the open space in the front for public access would be a lot safer to have the public be able to access the front of the lot versus if they were to have to walk all the way down the shared drive, which would be used by 3 separate homes, to then walk down to the open space in the back did not seem safe from our perspective. And then also to Tracy's point, if that subdivision or if has not gone through, then from our records or from our research, there are no immediately abutting open space parcels that would be connected to our lot.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. McRae.
So where are we here? We're actually looking at this as a preliminary because they
Right.
need to go to ZBA for
Yeah,
the thing.
yeah. So they need to go to ZBA. for
Wetlands
the-
actually gave us, conservation gave us remember from the 12th with 9 bullet points.
Right.
It would seem to me that's the kind of shopping list of things to be addressed at the moment.
Well done, Mr. McRae.
So I would say if we do something, maybe we should think about what we're doing right now, because it would seem as a preliminary for ZBA, they've got an awful lot of work no matter what happens to come back, even if the open space was in a nice place now, they still have a lot of work to do to come back for a subdivision.
Okay, I'm not sure I understood your last point, but
So
what I do
right
agree
now, we
with,
have a
may I
preliminary-
finish? Nick, may I finish?
Well, I'm trying to clarify what I said.
Okay, sorry.
So they have to go to ZBA for a driveway issue to use
Correct.
the driveway that's existing, so they don't have more site disturbance for other lots. But before they even come back to us with a subdivision, wherever the open space is, whatever it looks like, they've got to go through a lot of different things, including the 9 points in the conservation thing, which actually looks like most of the stuff we would want on a subdivision plan anyway. So saying that, where are we now? Are we going to be
Bingo.
are we going
So
to
bingo.
Padel with the open space, or are we going
Bingo.
to
So
punt
here's
this?
no, I don't know what you mean by Padel or punt, but whatever. Here's the answer that I gave in the beginning and that I'm going to give again. Conservation has raised these concerns, both the commission and the department, and they both have an advisory function to us. They have raised concerns. At the same time, given the current layout, the applicant would need to go to ZBA. They may not have to go to ZBA if they had a different layout. What I would suggest is that we ask that these issues all be addressed, and very specifically in those, the location of the open space, which was, and the point raised by Lizette Henry may not have been clear, but she was asking about a different location for it, that this be addressed with our staff and the department before returning to final. All the points that conservation has there, but that they look at it and they come back and they say to us, we've all talked about it, and conservation, and here's where we all came out. And I think that's the way to go. And I think that's what basically you just said, is we don't punt and we don't padel. That's the court with the rackets.
Playing
Okay.
tennis back and forth.
Okay, we're not doing any of that. What we're saying is, here's the big issue. It's the location of the open space. It's all these other things that conservation raised. It's the fact that the commission had concerns. It's the fact that they want connectivity of or as close to connectivity of open spaces, and that they're asking where are we getting the greatest protection for ecologically sensitive areas. So let's let everybody work that out and come back to us with a solution. And then we'll consider it on the final. And if they come back with the same thing, we'll consider that. And if they don't, we'll consider that, whatever their new option is. So is that what you were asking? Yes, I think that's the right thing to do. Let's get everybody to work on this and figure it out. All right. Before we do any of that, any other questions from the commission? Again, as Nick pointed out just now, and we said it yesterday, this has come to us as a must decide with no extension available at this point. And I forget, somebody felt pressured by that, but we aren't, because then whatever happens, they'll come back with the final and they will have considered in depth all the issues. But does anybody have any further comments? And then we'll turn to public.
Well, I was the one who,
I didn't say it.
no, but I used the term with a gun to our head.
Yep.
Just to be clear, you're suggesting what with regard to our
So
procedure?
Let us close it first. Let's get public comment. Let's close it. And then I'll throw something out there. How about that? Because I think to get into what the decision would look like while we're open.
No, I didn't ask. I just was curious what the procedure would be, but fine, I can wait.
Okay, so okay, so does anybody from the public wish to speak on this application at 618 Lake? Kindly raise your virtual hand. Anybody wish to speak on this application? No. Okay, so nobody wants to speak on this application. Does anybody object at this point to closing this application?
No.
All right, this application is hereby closed. Okay, now, as for the decision on the preliminary, what I would suggest is, as we always do on a preliminary, that we give the applicant guidance. Well, okay, you have option number one, which is always that you can deny the preliminary. Option number two is you can approve it with no comment. We can have no comments at all and say this is just ducky. Or option number three would be we move the preliminary forward and tell the applicant what we expect from them when they return with the final subdivision application, what we expect them to have accomplished when they return with the final. And I think, knowing our very efficient secretary, that he's probably already done a list, but I hope everybody will add to that. And I think we need to make it very clear that we'd like to see this be an effort by everybody together to resolve what is the best open space and the best use of the property. So with that, Mr. Secretary.
Okay, this will be 618 Lake Avenue application PLPZ 2025-237 preliminary subdivision. Applicant is requested a preliminary subdivision review to create 3 properties in the RA2 zone. Commission finds that the application has been submitted as a precursor to a ZBA variance request to allow shared driveways to be located outside the designated access ways. Therefore, a motion to move the application to final re-subdivision or subdivision, noting the following. Applicant to go back to the Conservation Commission to address the 9 bullet points on the 9/12/25 memo. Per section 619A5, the applicant shall appear before the ZBA for a review of variance requests. Applicant shall supply a tree removal and protection plan. Applicant shall indicate significant trees and locations, anything plus 20-inch DBH. Provide a comprehensive soil and erosion control plan, comprehensive construction phasing plan, an invasive species mitigation plan, identify and locate existing stone wall locations. And this is per the conservation and archaeological assessment of the site. And that was actually included in the 9 bullet points from the 9/12 memo.
Okay,
And applicant to address any outstanding staff or departmental issues.
so someone can double check me, but I keep only getting 8 points as I count them, A through H.
No, I go farther down.
Is there a way to quickly tick them off, Nick, or
Yes,
is it?
I have it in front of me here. Hold on a
Yeah,
second.
it's A through H, and then it stops, and then
I'm
that's,
looking summary of action items for the applicant from the commission. This is the bottom of page 2.
no, so what you're looking at should be the first page, the bottom of page 2 of our staff report, and it begins with bullet point 1, and then it goes A through H. Conservation Commission.
Oh, I'm looking at the conservation. I'm looking at the memo, the September 12th
Okay,
memo.
whichever. So somebody will figure that out. Now, the
Okay, so-
second thing is the overall important point that the Conservation Commission has reviewed here is that they and the department have commented on the layout for this subdivision because it's 10 acres or more, and that they are asking that the rear portion of the lot be reconsidered as the designated open space. I think what we heard yesterday is that is the most important one of the issues they're raising. Is this the correct open space? So we would like the applicant to prioritize, my take is addressing what in our memo, in our staff report is 1A little I. The rear portion of the lot should be reconsidered as the designated open space. And then they can come back to us and they can advise on whether that works or not.
Okay, so it's our staff's staff report
Is
as
that more
opposed,
comfortable, Patrick?
well, it's
Either one.
September 12th memo from the conservation is very specific as what they're looking for. Summary of action items for the applicant.
It's
from
the
the
same
commission.
thing. Point number 1 is the reconsideration. It's the same thing in their memo, Nick. Reconsideration of open space allocation, and the sentence is identical. The rear portion of the lot should be reconsidered as the designated open area, open space. It's the same sentence on either one.
Can we just tick those? I mean, I don't want to waste a lot of time.
No,
but
let's just go through them. Okay, so
Thank
the
you.
8 items in the conservation memo. And then as Nick points out, there's a 9th one in the second page. The 8 items are reconsider the open space allocation. Tree vegetation and site vegetation considerations. Existing tree cover and vegetation should be carefully documented, etc., and prioritized for conservation. 3, invasive species management. Multiple aggressive invasive species were observed across all 3 proposed lots on the property applicant should address. I'm just going fast, okay?
Yep.
Preservation of historic wall. The historic stone wall should be preserved, holds cultural and landscape value. Construction envelope. The applicant should provide more detailed information regarding the construction envelope for each proposed lot. This should include, but not be limited to, the extent of site disturbance. Now, that's a valuable thing because that goes to this issue we were raising earlier of where do you get most protection for environmentally sensitive? Is it in 3 or not? Review of the proposed development plans. This, I actually think, and Patrick Tracy guide us on this, I actually think we would be better served to decide at the time we do the final site plan, subdivision plan, if we want to see it come back to us as a full site plan. Because it might not. So do we want to see it? We would decide that on the final subdivision. So they don't really have to give us the full development plan because we could decide later if we want to do that. Then the SHPO and archaeological database search is number 7. And that's to indicate whether there are any known archaeological sites. And finally, the wetland impact. And this is again, the point we were talking about. Where is there better treatment of the wetlands? I'm still getting to the, I guess they elaborate, to Nick's point, they elaborate that they should just do an archaeological assessment. Okay, does anybody want to add anything to that now that I've like added all this sort of stuff? It's a beautiful lot. Does anybody want to add?
I think it covers it.
Okay. Tracy? Because you were there, I can't ask Patrick because he missed this discussion. All right. Okay, do I have
No,
a
I have
second?
further to add.
There, see, this is, I've got, those 8 that you just talked about. The 9 that I'm looking at actually has even more.
Yes, I just summarized them.
No. Like, for example,
I'm reading the conservation memo. That's what I
I
just
know,
read, but
but there was the summary actions had to submit slope analysis,
right.
septic
Okay,
plan, investigate
sure.
well feasibility. I mean, it goes on and on and on, very detailed in terms of very specific things. That is a summary of action items for the applicant. Okay.
Right.
So
right.
it's whatever you just read plus those.
Okay, but it's supposed to be a summary. Okay. Those 9 that they have down there are supposed to be a summary of the proceeding, but I get your point that they're worded differently. So we'll throw it all in together. We'll say the 8 points they raised plus the 9 action items. How about that?
Yeah.
Okay, and then everybody will be happy and we'll have everything. And did somebody second?
Second.
Okay, Mr. McRae has seconded his, wait, it's still your
Can't do that
motion.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't do that because it's still
Oops.
your
I'm
motion.
seconding.
Oops.
I'm
Okay,
seconding.
Wells has seconded. McRae, how do you vote?
Aye.
All right, Yeski,
Aye.
Wells.
Aye.
Lowe.
Aye.
Albin is also aye, and with that, the motion passes 5-0. So Ms. Orsi, I think it's clear, just, we want everybody to work together for the best answer. Okay, and I don't know if they have full minutes, but from what we heard from conservation, they were trying to tell you that, but sometimes I forget. I miss stuff in meetings, so. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Hey, we survived getting through. We were up to 17 points and that was a good way to do it, right? It's like, whatever. Okay. Our next application is Greenwich Country Club. That's Chip, right? Haslam?
I think it's the folks at Chopin.
It is Chip, though.
Oh,
Chip should be here as well.
Okay. Oh, there he is. All right, you getting him, Patrick? Oh, good. I like the way that camera zoomed on you guys. That's awesome.
The
Is
pressure's
that an
on him.
owl?
No, it's a wall mount. We don't know what
Oh.
it's gonna do, so everybody hold on to your desk.
Yeah, it's like it's gonna take off. But where the town is too cheap to buy us an owl. They only cost $1,000. I've been trying to get one for 5 years. Okay, the application, we are now, Mr. Basili, we are now in the public hearing.
Yes, we are. Okay,
Okey doke.
ready.
So this opens the public hearing, Greenwich Country Club, for a final site plan and special permit to make improvements in additions to the main clubhouse and fitness facility. The increase in volume exceeds 100, in volume is greater than the 150,000 cubic feet. The property is 148 acres and it is located at 19 Dublin Road in the RA1. That is it. And with that, Mr. Haslam.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, members of the commission. Chip Haslam for the applicant. As you can see, we have folks from Choprino as well who are here tonight to answer your questions, Jerry and David. And I'd like to, if Keith Armstrong is in the audience too, Pat, if you could also make him a panelist. Keith is the general manager of the club, and he might be able to
Not
answer some
seeing.
questions. No? Okay. He may not have signed on.
Unless he's listed, you know, people come in with weird listings, not seeing. Mr. Armstrong, if you're here, please raise your virtual hand.
We invited him, but he may have
Okay.
not corrected, but we
Well,
also
yeah,
have,
he's called Greenwich Country Club. There he is.
there you go. Good. And in the waiting in the wings too, if need be, is Adam Serini from DeAndrea's office if you have questions regarding the site plan, but you don't need to bring them up yet, I don't think. We attended the briefing yesterday, and you had some issues, some minor issues about things about coverage and parking spaces, et cetera. We did today confirm that the green space will actually be 94.2%, which includes the Patel buildings. For some reason, Patel has become a popular word lately. There was
I didn't know what Nick was talking about.
yeah, that's what it is. Oh, and then there's 213 parking spaces that are demarcated, not 215 as was shown previously. As you all probably know, who've been to events at Greenwich Country Club in the past, there's considerable overflow parking at the bottom of the hill too, behind the tennis courts, but it's undemarcated, but it's used by the club on a regular basis for events. In addition, of course, to using valet parking. These improvements are intended to serve the current membership. There's no intention to add to the membership because of them. They basically it's additions to the existing facility. And when we get down to EMAC issues, that'll probably come up again a little bit, talking about what we're trying to maintain. I think that those are really the major issues. Mr. Wells had a question about where that 12-inch corrugated pipe went. It does drain into the brook that goes through the property, and from there probably joins up at Brothers Brook and lower down. But that's where it does discharge. There are 4 EV chargers on the property currently on the top. I think those are really the major issues, other than the EMAC that Mr. Wells wanted to discuss in greater detail. I think that was really it. Happy to make a presentation if you choose, but I think the plans are very well presented, and I think you know what we're doing.
Mr. Lowe.
Yes, Mr. Haslett, is there a, with regard to the membership, is there a cap on membership, and is the club currently at that capacity?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. Maybe Keith can chime in on that point. As you can see from the staff notes, there have been many applications related to this property.
Amazing.
Yeah. Yep. I having represented Millbrook for many years, I was kind of surprised actually that more clubs don't have a cap on their membership. And
But a lot don't.
I don't recall Greenwich Country Club having a cap, but
I don't either. I was going to say that. I don't remember a cap here.
There,
Keith?
yeah, excuse me. Thank you. There is a cap.
Oh, there is? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. And we are at our cap at this point.
Okay.
Okay, great.
for you.
Thank you.
So you're doing well.
And what
We're
is
doing
that
well.
cap?
Thank you.
What is the cap?
It's 465, which is 435 senior members and 30 associate members, which are our bonded members. But that comes to a total of 650 members.
Wait, say that over again.
When you add all the other categories, it's a total of 650 members.
But your cap is 465, I think.
Our senior bonded members are at 465.
Mr. Armstrong, sorry to interrupt, Madam Chair. That is sounds to me like it's a club bylaw, right? You're right. So
Right.
I think that may be my vague recollection is that this club in particular has a tight cap, and the commission in the past has not felt the need to put further
So
safeguards on it. So
the
that's
membership cap is theirs, not ours. is
yes,
what
that's
you're
my
saying.
that is my recollection.
Yeah.
And it's very modest, and I think the commissions in the past have just let it
Let
stand.
it ride.
But it is helpful to know it because it lends even greater credence to the claim that they don't anticipate the addition of facilities to occasion an increase in membership.
Right, and that obviously that's your prerogative to double check. I understood.
And so you know, Mr. Armstrong, from the questions as you gathered, other clubs have a cap from us.
Okay.
And Mr. Haslam has just told you he's envious.
Well, they've got Greenwich Country Club has much more property than Millbrook does, certainly.
Yeah, we could say that. Okay, Mr. Lowe, go ahead.
Mr. Lowe is done. Thank you.
Mr. Lowe's done. Mr. McRae.
Mr. Haslam, addition alterations and then a very large patio outside, south facing. Is it the intention to cover that patio with tents, awnings, it's anything else as a sunshade?
Great question.
Again, I don't know the answer to that question. Maybe Mr. Armstrong can respond to that too.
Mr. Armstrong?
I'll let the architect actually respond to the design.
From a built perspective, no, there are deep porches on the new restaurant. There are permanent awnings. There is a pergola structure. I'm not sure if you can share though.
Oh, I can see that. Yes.
Oh, you
easy
can
enough
see
to-
that picture?
I'm looking at the plans and I see it.
Okay.
You're outside a restaurant on a very, very large patio with
Yeah, so
south
they have
facing
a,
east-west orientation. I'm thinking somewhere down the line, I'm getting an application with a bunch of awnings and tents and things. And I'm just wondering, maybe we should dispense with that and look at it now.
Great idea. Just for a second, architects, you are enabled to share your screens now if you want to go ahead and talk
Great.
about it.
that's part of it. Here we go.
And also, did the architectural firm, did you each of you identify yourselves for the record? Because our court reporter, this is in the public hearing and it just has the name of your company.
Sure,
And
we are Shepherd and Wharton. My name is Jerry Hupy, principal here.
Yeah, can you spell your names, please?
Hupy is the last name. First name is Jerry, Jerry. And next to me is David Butcher.
Spelled Boettcher.
You have that, Mr. Bazili?
Yes, thank you. I was just about to ask. Thanks.
See how well ESP can work? Okay, if you would go ahead and address Mr. McRae's questions.
So, yeah, on a normal basis, the club has obviously various activities that they use this terrace for. There are occasions where they have large member gatherings in the back here. But as far as the building is concerned, it makes use of underneath that awning structure where the cursor is an open porch. Above that is a pergola structure. The main porch has been extended. So there's a lot of things that have occurred in here to make sure that the day-to-day use of the building environment is shaded and protected from the sun. If you can also notice the trees on the left side of that terrace, because the western sun can sneak into this area as well. But the activities as far as the membership is concerned, they do occasionally put tables out here with umbrellas. Keith, if I misspeak, please correct me. There are occasions, as you can see on the left here, where they will put tents out into the lawn from larger events. And you can see the tables and chairs in there with the umbrellas in them as well. But from a built environment, we didn't want to restrict the potential activities that could occur on the terrace.
Mr. McRae?
Okay, so there's going to be the pergola structures, the overhangs, the porches area. You have awnings on some of the openings because of the sun, and you have the few trees for that one thing. So somewhere along the line, Mr. Haslam probably bring us back a temporary tent or awning or something for the summer months when it's too hot. So that's what I'm gathering here. I would think we just make a note of that in our thoughts.
Okay.
If I may, the tents are really for events. They're not left up as a long-term. They're not left up just because it's hot out. That's not how they use the space. But you're correct that if they put up tents for events, then they will get the necessary permits.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mr. Wells is next, followed
Yeah.
by Mr. Yeski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, just wanted to follow up on the EMAX side. I did have a chance to look at the compliance certificate that was sent. my read is this would be completed after you've done the work, because it looks like it's incomplete now. So if I look at the mechanical compliance certificate for all heat pumps, it basically says the same thing. System compliance fails. Economizer requirements have not been met. So that's because you haven't filled it out, right? This is just the form that you need to fill out?
Yeah,
Maybe
the
architect-
the mechanicals get followed up through the process. What's important there, I think, to note is that the building itself has 4% of openings. So essentially it's 4 squash courts. So it's got 3 walls that are solid without any window penetrations. The other portions of the building down near the restaurant that do have doors, it effectively is a very small percentage of the building itself. So the mechanical load associated with it, and we're using high efficiency HRVs, but the mechanical load associated with heating and cooling it is pretty minimal. So the building envelope has passed 19% over the required. The lighting is passed 19% over, and in fact, exterior lighting is 75% over the code requirements. So as a shell that we will need to confirm the heating and cooling on, it's well beyond its code requirements.
So are basically your mechanicals only for the squash court, or do you also have them in your kitchen edition?
It's for the squash court, for the restaurant, for the gym above. So it's for that building. And then we are going to drop a more efficient line down into the new or renovated kitchen that's being fed from this system as well.
Yeah. Because typically we get site EUI. Are you able to estimate that? And we're not looking at it for the whole building, obviously, but just for the addition, just an estimate, because it's very helpful, because we see a bunch of projects, but if we get site EUI from each of them, we can sort of track, hey, is the town doing better or worse? And again, that would be very helpful for us.
Yeah, we can request that. I mean, we essentially on the briefing yesterday heard your commentary, which is why we produced overnight the document you have in front of you, and happy to provide that to administrative, if that EUI, so you can see that as well.
That's great. We don't have to hold this up. That could be provided later.
Certainly.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right. Mr. Yeski.
Yeah, I understand that you're not increasing the membership. Are you going to change the use times of either the fitness center or the restaurant from what they are now?
No, they will stay the same. The fitness center today opens at 6 a.m. and closes at 10 p.m.
Okay.
So we will operate in similar hours, and the restaurant will operate in similar hours as it is today as well.
Are you planning to add any special events, particularly for non-members at this point, to that space?
No, this will be a member only space. No events outside of member events, but no events for, we'll do golf events for our members, but nothing from the outside.
Thank you.
Mr. Lowe.
Thank you.
Yeah, there were a couple of other things that we, I think, touched upon yesterday. And you may have already covered this and I missed it, but there was an indication that there was going to be 17 trees proposed to be planted. Do we have a number of the number that will be removed?
9.
9, thank you.
They're 9. They show up on Deandra's development plan.
Okay.
Sheet 1 of 4. They have those removals on there.
All right, sorry. Did you also comment on conservation's concerns about ensuring the tree protection before there's soil disturbance?
Yes, I did. In fact, the tree protection is drawn on the landscape architect's drawings.
Okay, so I'm wasting everybody's time.
No, you're never wasting anybody's
No,
time.
it's a good comment. I mean, I've sat on boards myself, so I appreciate
And
it.
the last issue there was that I had the notion of substituting natives for non-natives.
I have a summary. We can submit that to administrative as well. There were things in there that they agreed with and that they are on board with doing. There were other things that they would prefer not to do, just based on the conditions at the club.
Right.
But they wrote a summary, and Chip has
No,
that.
no, I read that. So my question is, what, do you have a response to what they're suggesting?
Yes, we actually, our landscape architect reviewed the suggested revisions, and we can replace some of the non-natives with natives. There were some other suggestions that he felt like were probably inappropriate to the site, but we thought it would be ideal to just meet with staff from P&Z and conservation,
Okay.
just go through those
Yeah.
and see what we can do, because there were things that seemed to make sense. We
Well,
wanted to do.
yeah.
Whoa,
Well,
look at
the
us.
eye of the beholder. I'm sure there are disagreements about what may be appropriate or not. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Mary?
Yeah, and just again for completeness, and I think this sounds like an administrative as well. The lighting plan didn't indicate the bug ratings and other information that would assure us that it's consistent with regulations. So if we could get that information as well, it'd be great.
Certainly.
Yes, I think the CEO commented on that, so we will respond to that too, make sure that we're compliant.
Thank you.
Nick, you have that, right? Nick?
Yes, got it.
Okay. Just checking. Anything else from the commission? All right. If I think if you all don't mind, I'd like to turn to the public for comment. Does anybody from the public wish to speak on this application? Am I seeing an open hand, a raised hand, but I can't see where it is, Patrick. Hold on. Patrick, can you, got it. Okay. It just came, I just hadn't, the screen hadn't refreshed. So our speaker is Michael Lulkin. And does anyone else from the public wish to comment on the Greenwich Country Club application? This is Greenwich Country Club improving their facilities. Mr. Lulkin, whenever you're ready, go ahead. You've unmuted. Now you're muted. Go up back to where you were. You came in well. There you go. You're perfect. Go ahead.
Okay. I guess you might as well see me if I can do that. Well, maybe not. Okay.
No, good job.
Okay, great. Hello, everybody. So I'm Michael Lulkin. I live at 101 Stanwich Road, directly across the street from the golf course. And I'm against any expansion of any kind, not because I'm against expansion, but because this golf course is totally disrespectful of the neighbors. They work their greens, they work their fairways, they have giant crews of people. If I understood correctly, there can be up to 71 people workers living on the premises. I can't believe I might have misread that. They start working at 5:30 in the morning. On August 8th, they received a summons for making improper noise. They work on Memorial Day. They work on Labor Day. They work constantly. I've called them numerous times. I'm on personal terms with Mike Kincaid, who is the groundskeeper. He must be operating in the direction of the board and the management of the club. They do not care about their neighbors. They should not be allowed to expand. I understand that they're a great institution in Greenwich, but they have to learn that they should respect their neighbors and follow the rules. They violate the noise ordinances on a regular basis, practically every day. They have very few people golfing early in the morning, and yet they start at 5:30 to take care of their course. They have noise machines. They use blowers when they shouldn't. They've actually had people come out and take noise readings. And I don't know what those are, but I'm sure they violated the noise rules about how many decibels. They're terrible neighbors. And they shouldn't be allowed to expand. They'll just get bigger. They have not kept their word. They've as much as told the police, as I understand it from speaking to the community affairs officer, a sergeant, that they said that they're going to continue to make noise too early. that then members insist on it so they can have a few golfers golf at 8 o'clock in the morning without having to listen to loud equipment. So that's my simple comment. I think you shouldn't give them a special permit and allow them to expand in a residential area if they're not going to respect the neighbors.
Thank you very much, Mr. Logan. Does anybody
Thank
else?
you for
from the-
listening, and I appreciate the efforts of everybody on this call that you spend so much time and do a great job. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Does anybody else wish to speak from the public on the Greenwich Country Club application? Please raise your virtual hand. All right. I thought you guys had addressed the noise issues. We had a problem at one point with you were drying the greens with equipment. Wasn't that you guys, Mr. Armstrong?
I don't know about drying the greens with equipment. You know, I do know
Fans,
that
there were blowers. It was here. I think it was here because you had neighbor complaints.
No, it wasn't here.
It wasn't
No.
here. Okay. So, good point. If, I hope you haven't told anybody you would violate the noise ordinance on purpose. I hope you didn't really say that.
we did not, Madam Chairwoman. Matter of fact, we invested over $30,000 in electric blowers this year. You know, so we've worked really hard to do what's right, but I'm not going to comment on Mr. Lawkins' comments.
Okay. What I would like to do is to have an opportunity to look into, from what Mr. Lulkin was saying, you have been issued violations for the noise, but because that isn't a zoning matter, we have to go to the first selectman's office to inquire. And we would have to look into it and find out whether or not, you know, where you are with noise, unless you recall what the noise violations you've received and how you've acted on them.
We
Mr.
were,
Lowe.
yeah, we
ahead.
were issued one summons this year for
Uh-huh.
for a noise violation. It was based on actually time. You know, we had a conversation with the officer and he wrote us a summons.
You know that the really strict limitation is on the weekends in the morning. Mr. Lowe. go
Yeah, I
ahead.
just, you said that you weren't going to comment on it. I wonder if it wouldn't be appropriate for you to address these issues. In particular, the noise and the timing of it. Maybe you could, my understanding, for example, I believe on weekends, blowers are not allowed to be used until 9 o'clock. Maybe it's 8, but I think it's like 9. And during the weekdays, I think there's a restriction to maybe 7:30. I'm not clear on this, but maybe you have the correct information and would be willing to share it with us.
Well, Mr. Lowe, we've worked really hard to try to, I mean, it's through a learning process for us as well. And so
But
we've made some pivots as to timing of things. Again, we are not operating the gas powered blowers, you know, but we have made some adjustments to our schedules, our mowing schedules. We did do a decibel level testing on mowers that fall below the allowable decibel limit, which was a positive. But our grounds crew has made some adjustments to the schedule as well to try to really focus on being a good neighbor.
okay, Mr. Yeski.
Well, I guess I just would like answers. The neighbor has suggested that they're working at 5:30 in the morning and the noise is there. I think the noise ordinance is 8 o'clock on weekdays. Do they work the fairways in front of the neighbor at 5:30 in the morning?
They do not.
What time do they start?
I'll have to get the schedule from the grounds crew, but so in the summertime, they probably start around 5:30 again. Like I said, this has been a learning experience for us with the neighbor. Now it's dark at 5:30 in the morning. They're not starting at 5:30 in the morning. But again, we made some adjustments to our schedule probably about 7 weeks ago, based on some of the units, to try to focus on it. We actually aren't even cutting that fairway some days until after 9 o'clock to try to be a good neighbor. So
Awesome. Would you be, Dennis, anything else?
No, but is this the kind of thing we can condition or we just
Yes,
can't
well,
touch
more
it?
than that, what I'm wondering is if we could ask for the schedule that you have for when you start groundskeeping, what your schedule's going to be, and that you give us a schedule that will then go into your decision letter. And that will be what you abide by. And that you consider, and you can, oh gosh, Patrick, every time I volunteer the first selectman's office, they're unhappy with me. But the thing would be, you can make noise as long as it doesn't violate the noise ordinance. So you kind of have to have someone check what your noise level is, because there are things you could do in the morning. Basically, you can't run power equipment at 5:30 in the morning on a Sunday, where it impacts the neighbors. And I understand you've got eager golfers, and I know how committed golfers are. We've got a few of them talking to you right now. But on the other hand, we'd like you to commit to something that follows the noise ordinance and to give that to us. Yes, sir, Mr. Yeski.
That's all fine and I would love to see all that. There is a caveat here, and I don't know that it still holds. Patrick might know. There is an exemption that certain people can apply for. Patrick, you know what I'm talking
Town,
about?
it's just the town got an exemption because it was taking them time to buy electrical equipment. And they got an exemption from the Board of Selectmen.
I thought I read in the noise ordinance that there was an ability to apply for an exemption from.
There is that, yes, Mr. Yeski, there is an ability, but that goes to the Board of Selectmen and they adjudicate that.
Not us.
And does Greenwich have an exemption at this point?
The country club, you mean?
Yeah, Greenwich Country Club.
We don't know. I don't know. I have
I'm
no,
asking Mr. Armstrong.
Mr. Armstrong.
Mr. Yeski, I don't think that we do.
Okay,
Okay.
and so we need to ask the Office of First Selectman. The last I tuned in, it was Parks and Rec asking for the exemption because they had not been able to buy electric equipment. And they were asking to continue to use the gas for another year. So, but I then heard that the clubs were applying for were talking about applying for an exemption. Patrick, you thought they had maybe some of them?
There is an opportunity. I'm just saying there is a process
could.
in the regular.
Okay, so we need to find out, we need to find out what's out there. And then, but the most helpful thing, Mr. Armstrong, would be if you give us your hours. And
Sure.
you have a copy of the noise ordinance?
I do. I read it all too often.
Yeah. And again, to what Patrick says, there is a process. If, for an example, I'm just thinking out loud, if you had tournament play,
Yes.
if you had a big tournament, you could go to the Office of First Selectman, you're preparing the course for that tournament, and that's a specific date, and they would give you the exemption. But if you're doing it every Sunday at 5 in the morning, 5:30, it would be less favorable. Dennis, you still have your hand up? You done?
I think what you suggested is the right thing. I'd like to see all that detail and ensure that the club's going to honor if the schedule fits what the town ordinances are, that they're going to honor that at this point. So I think that'd be good. But are we, again, my question was, we're going to condition it like that, or are we going to postpone?
We're going to
this?
wait for the data. We're not postponing. We're going to wait for the data that we understand what they're doing. I think we should wait.
Okay, that was my question. Got it.
I think we should wait. My recommendation to you guys would be to wait, but if you guys want to close this, please overrule me, because I'm totally open to that.
No, I'd like to see it wait. I'd like to see wait.
Let's see what Lowe and Macri say. Mr. Lowe.
Yeah, so I think that there was, there may be all kinds of different exemptions provided, but I think at one point, some of the clubs in town had asked for relief from that particular regulation. Now, all clubs are not equals. Some are, some clubs have greater proximity to residential areas than others. So there's some who can operate in a certain fashion and not bother anybody. And then there are some that can't. And, in this case, Greenwich Country Club is plunked down in the midst of residential areas, and there may be ways to mitigate it by sequencing the maintenance at different times, et cetera. That's not our job. But I'm guessing that there may be, I think that some of the clubs were provided some slack just because there are areas on the property that are remote from residential areas. But we definitely should look into this.
May I make a request, Madam Chair?
Yes, of course, Mr. Haslam.
Thank you. I understand the issue and the fact that the commission wants to be responsive to the neighbor, this particular neighbor, but I'm sure other neighbors as well that might have concerns. But as you know, the proposal is unrelated to the golf course itself or the extension of the golf course or whatever membership. It's really related to the buildings, which are far away.
Yeah, I was
Cambridge
thinking,
Road.
yeah.
But I'm only suggesting that maybe if you could close this, because we have a very tight schedule, which I know is not your problem, but we do, for construction, that if you could close it, but with the caveat that the club has to show that it's compliant with the noise ordinances of the town of Greenwich, or that it's received exemptions or will receive exemptions as appropriate. And that way we are required then to be responsive to that concern without delaying this application. I'm just concerned too with while we're gathering information, the clock is ticking and that could take considerable.
No, I get it. Although I'll bet you, I've been watching Mr. Armstrong and I'll bet you he can tick off his hours right now, this minute. It would be done tomorrow. He knows exactly when he's doing his maintenance. Mr. McRae.
I was about to say what Mr. Haslam just said, the same thing.
Okay.
We're looking at an additional alteration to the clubhouse, which is more than 1,500 feet from where a particular neighbor is, particular neighbors north of CMS, which is under construction, by the way. Although the noise regulation is part and parcel of the town, it's not a zoning regulation that we have control over.
Absolutely.
I would
That's
think that actually
absolutely correct.
conditioning any thoughts that we have, that they be in compliance. I think it's very simple. There is a mechanism to, regulate noise in the town of Greenwich by another department. Let them handle it. Let us do what we're supposed to be doing.
Right. And I don't disagree with that. It is not, and just so everybody's clear, this is not our enforcement authority. If it violates the noise ordinance, it's the police that comes in and it goes through the first selectman's office. That said, it's the overall facility. This is a special permit. And it's the intrusion of the overall facility on the surrounding neighborhood and its consistency with the surrounding neighborhood uses. If it weren't a special permit application, it would be different. But as a special permit, we do have that discretion to ensure that the entire use remains neighborhood friendly. I'm amenable either way, so I'm happy to go with what you all majority. I think we need to make a point of it. As Nick said, we can just make the point. I'm willing to go with whatever you all prefer. Mr. Lowe?
Yeah, I think that the request is very reasonable. But we as a commission, I don't think can just turn a blind eye to a concern that's come up here and say, oh, that's not our job. So, and it may be unfortunate for the applicant here that a neighbor brought this up at this time, and it may not be the appropriate issue to address as part of this application. But nonetheless, we can't, in my view, we cannot ignore it. We cannot allow it to interfere with our judgment on this application. So I think that's a reasonable request by the applicant and his representative.
You're saying we could go ahead and close it.
Yeah.
And get the data. Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. McRae, I'm going to call on you last because you had just gone. Mr. Wells?
I'm comfortable with what Nick and Peter have suggested.
Good. Mr. Yeski?
Well, I think Peter is suggesting different from Nick. Am I missed something?
No, he said he agreed with Nick, but go ahead,
No,
clarify.
I didn't.
Ms.
Well,
Oh, no.
I didn't mention Nick. I thought I stated my position clearly,
Well,
but
Say it again.
I think the request by the applicant is very reasonable. And yet we can't turn a blind eye to information that comes to us through, and it's
That's right.
not, it's not our job, but it should be our job to be vigilant citizens. And in fact, a lot of the enforcement that takes place comes out of a neighbor reporting something. The town has to rely upon that mechanism because we only have 2 or 3 people in our enforcement department or whatever it is.
Okay, so but you are saying
I'm
that
saying
your
we could,
position, we could close it
that's
and
right.
we'll just get the information. And in our decision, assuming we approve it, we would say, you must comply with the noise ordinance. We've received, we don't have your hours of maintenance because it's closed, so we can't receive new information. But the hours in the noise ordinance are this, and you must comply in all of your facilities.
Well, I wasn't saying that. I don't know if there's noise associated with this application. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be construction noise.
It doesn't, no, we're not talking about construction noise. We're talking about ongoing maintenance noise. And the differentiation that I made from what Nick said is we're not just talking about this application because this is a special permit use in a residential zone.
Got it.
As a result, we have to look at the entire use and make sure that it is respectful of its neighborhood. The fact that they're going to have construction noise, yeah, we know that. Everybody
Yeah,
knows that.
I'm good with
The
it.
issue
I'm
that
good
was
with it.
raised is the other, but we asked for it. Now it's long, and everybody knows we won't know when they're doing their maintenance. We will ask that they submit it to staff, but we won't know when they're running it when we make the decision because we would make it tonight. Okay, Mr. Yeski.
Yeah, not wild about that. I definitely believe we have to condition it along the lines of meeting with staff, making sure the noise ordinance is adhered to. My concern is if they come back and say, well, we're going to do maintenance at 5:30 in the morning, that doesn't help us at this point. So I'll go along, but I think the concern is that they need to be very respectful of the neighborhood. It is residential. And doing maintenance at 5:30 in the morning or 6 or 7 for that matter, that seems to be the area. And I don't buy the argument at all that this is an application on a fitness center and we shouldn't look at everything.
No.
I don't buy that argument at all.
I mean, I see Nick's point, but at the same time, we do look at the overall facility because it's
Right.
a special permit. Because it's a special permit use in a residential zone. Okay, I'm hearing the majority leans to closing with conditioning, with some reluctance on Mr. Yeski's part, but that we would close it. If we were to approve it, we would condition following the noise ordinance and we would ask that staff be supplied. And by the way, I think we should include in that, well, we'll get to it later. But it really, again, what we have to deal with noise is it is not ours. It belongs to the first selectman's office. And to be honest, we fought off having it because we didn't want it. It's not zoning. Noise is not land use, technically. So we have to make sure that the first selectman's office is in the loop because they're the enforcers. Okay, so does anyone object to closing this application at this time?
No.
Seeing no objection, this application is hereby closed. All right, I
Thank
think
you.
we've got something for you that'll work. Hopefully, we'll see how we decide. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you.
Thank you very
Bye-bye.
much.
All right. There's always a surprise somewhere, right? Okay.
This reminds me of the chicken coop.
Right, so with that, we now end the public hearing. Mr. Basili, I hope you're going to be very lonely for the next whatever many weeks and hours. It's only 5:30.
Well, it's only 2 weeks and it goes very fast. So,
We'll try really hard to get a big agenda for you the next time.
oh, that's okay. Whatever you do.
Mr. LaRoe,
Madam Chair, if I could ask for a favor of the commission, if we could take item number 7B out of order.
Sure.
and
let's
then-
do that. So we're gonna take, the first one we're gonna hear is going to be the Lake Avenue Family Trust at 190 Lake Avenue. And then we're gonna go, Mr. Wells, you're gonna
Ye-
leave in half an hour, so we should not seat you, right?
Yeah, not seat me for the country
Yeah.
club, Greenwich Country Club, because someone else will need to vote on it, right?
Okay, I should have announced
Unless
it.
unless
but-
you want to.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Hold on a sec.
Okay. Thank you for being so patient.
Hold on, Casey, hold on 1 second.
Admin stuff, sorry. Jenke, you are seated
Madam-
on Greenwich Country Club.
Okay, thank you,
Thank you,
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
Okay, and with that, our next application is 190, we're doing Lake Avenue now, right? Wait, that's not out of order. That's, oh, because we're skipping Vista, sorry. 190 Lake Avenue, the Lake Avenue Family Trust for a pre-app review for the town to propose the creation of an ADU, an accessory dwelling unit in a single-family dwelling requiring a special permit on 190 Lake Avenue. I think I said that like 4 times. Okay, Mr. O'Donnell, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, members of the commission. Obviously, Patrick and Tracy have been very patient. Patrick put a very gracious amount of time in helping me understand and prepare this to you. So to be most succinct, I have 2 questions from you, and of course, I would love to have any additional input. My 2 questions are, is the intent of the regulations that we compare the gross floor area of the primary unit to the floor area of the ADU?
Square footage.
So the square foot, so, and I'm
It
gonna
does
ask,
not say FAR in the regulation. It says square footage.
so it's gonna be, it's just the square footage, so it doesn't matter if it's in the attic or the basement or
Nope.
where it is. I'm gonna measure each one, using the same metric.
Yep.
I love the efficiency of this commission. The second question is, essentially, does the
Wait,
presence
can you
of-
violate the noise ordinance?
That's my third question. The second question is, does the presence of a non-conforming minimum yard render the lot non-conforming? And I can give nuance to that question as.
Yes, it does. But I'm going to let Patrick comment because he's been working with it. I didn't say that, Patrick. I'd love to hear your comments. But
Well,
if you have
Mr.
any
O'Donnell,
nonconformity on a lot, you have a nonconforming lot.
So Mr. O'Donnell has read the language and in plain English, he was asking the question, does lot mean the size and area of the parcel? And I have informed him that my interpretation or my understanding of past practice from the commission is that it is any nonconformity of the lot in question or the subject matter is the determinant of whether or not a variance is required.
Correct. That is how the commission has traditionally interpreted it. And it is, and if you look at the language on nonconformities, where's my Mary? If you look at the language around nonconformities, any nonconformity existing on a lot renders it nonconforming. And I mean, our lawyers can duke it out, but that's our take. That's how we do it.
Just to, because you've been so gracious, and I promise to be efficient, 6-9 is the only place in that regulation, I think you're gonna find the term non-conforming lot. And non-conforming lot has been taken to mean a lot that is non-conforming with respect to area, with respect to frontage, or with respect to lot shape requirements. And I think the slippery slope question, and
Timeout. 6-9.
yes.
As far as I know, okay, everybody, I'm getting on my soapbox. 6-9, as far as I know, we're the only town that has that kind of a regulation. And it was designed historically when we down zoned certain areas of town so that those areas would still be able to develop if they had lots that had been rendered non-conforming by the down zone. So it addresses the impact of the down zone specifically, even if it doesn't say that. Okay.
I
So
agree
if-
100%.
So what we're saying is 469, if you have a 5,000 square foot lot in the R6, well, not the R6, the R12, if you have a 10,000 square foot lot in the R12, you can go down to the R7 because we wanted to undo the impact on you. And that's what that regulation was intended to do. That's why 6.9 sounds like that. But any nonconformity, as the commission historically applies it, and over the applications I've heard, we have been very, very consistent on this. Any
Okay.
nonconformity on the lot, we consider to render the lot nonconforming.
So
And we,
the wrong number of stories, okay, then I.
now you get into Mary's field, which is structural nonconformities versus use nonconformities, and what you get to keep under 8.2 and all that. She's done the deepest dive on this. I'm only addressing, you have a deficient side yard.
Yes.
You therefore have a nonconformity. So you're only, and this is where Patrick is better at explaining this, and he said this to you, you can't expand that area of nonconformity, but you can do something else on your lot as long as you're not expanding that nonconformity.
Agree.
Okay.
Okay, Patrick, thank you for being so patient. With
Well,
my-
like he could have just told you, odds are the chair's going to say whatever I'm saying.
that part I knew, but he
No,
did
and it's
explain
only
it
because
carefully.
we've known, I mean, we've been talking about this stuff for, Patrick, how long? 18 years?
Yes. Wonderful
So-
year, by the way.
Now, we had a question for you.
Yes.
You have an ADU there now and you're legalizing it?
There is an aspect of this that is
Okay.
related to amnesty, but there's
Okay, that's fine.
yeah,
We're
it-
happy. We
thank
just
you.
didn't understand yesterday at the briefing. We were a little confused. Second question, just clarify for us, the addition that you're doing, we were having trouble following it from the documents, and that's fine. It's only a pre-app. It's exactly where, can you throw it up and then someone just walk us through it again?
Yes, this house was built, we know, sometime before 1911, and there was additions in the 40s, 50s, 80s, 90s, and 2017. So this, the bottom picture in the letter that you got, so the bottom picture in the letter, that was an appropriate addition that was made with all permits and approvals in 2017, before this lot was zoned from, I think, RA1 to R12. So that addition comprises that 900 square feet that we can see above ground, and then something more underground, I think 15 or 1400 that's underground in the basement area. That was permitted with a wet bar when it was built. So the physical changes to the property would essentially relate to the wet bar turning into a kitchen.
Okay. Ms. Jenkins.
Yes, Mr. O'Donnell, so basically you're saying that if I look at a picture of this after construction, it'd look the same?
Yeah, there'll be no, this application anticipates, no external change to the property. The grade plane is close enough that depending on what your answer was for how we use square footage comparison, primary unit and accessory unit, that we could make adjustments to the grade plane to address that, but I don't think they're necessary with the answers we obtained tonight.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? Okay, so just walk us through, well, it's kind of hard to see because there's not, actually, we probably should have just done it on
There's a
Google.
little sketch plan. I don't know if it's convenient, that may be a little easier to talk through the basics. There we go. Thank you. So what's pictured in light blue is the most recent massing. So that massing was existed up until 2017. And we can see 200 Lake Avenue directly abutting with the shared party wall in orange. At the bottom of the screen, indicated in light green, is the area of the 2017 edition that's already been built. So that entire green portion would be dedicated to the ADU, and the blue portion would be considered the primary unit. So as it relates to parking, the parking that I've indicated at 6 and 7, those 2 spaces could serve as parking for the ADU.
Yeah.
And then the house has the garage spaces are marked 4 and 5. There's
Mhm.
another, I counted conservatively, just 1 space considering backing and maneuvering in front of the house.
Mhm.
And then arguably 2 non-conforming spaces that are marked 2 and 3 that also
Right.
serve.
But
the
your
primary.
ad is not an attic or a second story. Your ad is out the back with a walkout area. That's how we were reading it yesterday.
Right, the again, the addition that what you see in light green, that has
Yes.
been already constructed, so there's no additional square footage that's proposed as part of this pre-app.
Oh, that is not clear in your material.
It's not, and I was using the materials that we had on hand, which was the final as-built, rather than a more recent updated survey based on just that, you
So
know.
you are not, if you look at the table you sent us, it looks like Nick was thinking you were adding a second floor. I was thinking you were pushing out the ground floor because you change your ground floor square feet on that table you sent us. Nick, go ahead.
Yeah, can we bring that, part of
Table
the,
up. It's
yeah.
the next page down. in
No,
our-
the colored one actually, because it was, after really looking at everything, it
Yeah,
was deceiving, but I figured it out because it
Good
was
for
kind of
you.
upside down.
yeah. So
So,
this was
Mr.
very confusing.
Mr. O'Donnell, the
Zoom in someone.
ADU, the ADU that we were talking about here, it was in green, and then the lower level, which is an additional square footage of the ADU, is actually under the patio and roof.
Correct.
Okay, and there's no addition to that. That's all of that is existing, and your grade plane, basically, you have a slope in the back. So some of that actually counts as floor area.
We
Exactly.
could make it, the grade plane, the as-built grade plane from the 2017 edition was 2.98. So if necessitated by the analysis on square footage, we could have ultimately excavated some portion around any portion of the foundation and brought the grade plane to 3 to 5, which would essentially increase the gross square footage of the dwelling. And then made the ratios work better. I don't think we have to do that based on what we discussed this evening.
Right. Mr. Leroux, if you can scroll up to the colored site.
I think the colored site plan, Pat.
Oh,
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Great.
I didn't say the color image. I'm sorry.
Okay, so green is existing ADU first floor, if you would,
Correct.
where it says patio and roof over is basement, but part of the ADU.
Correct.
And you have a little bit of a walkout from the basement into the backyard.
That I don't think, I think there's some like window wells back there, so there's some lights in the, I've been in the lower level of that space. And there's lights, but there's no walkout down there. In the
Okay.
front, it's completely underground. In the back, there's just enough for some windows.
Got it. Okay.
Oh, we good. I'm glad we clarified that because that table, Mary.
Yeah, is there a connection between this unit and the main unit?
There is a connection, if you can see the green sort of near where Pat's indicating.
Yeah.
That is a hallway, so the fire separation would be somewhere there.
So, but it's more than that. It has to be part of the primary unit to get the square footage that you're getting.
The problem is that it looks like a detached unit, but you're
Yes.
using the internal ADU percentages.
Exactly.
So it's kind of like it's neither beast nor fowl here because it does look like it. If this were new, it would look like a detached ADU. But if it in fact, if in fact you can walk from the primary
Well,
unit,
actually,
It's
Mr. Leroux,
attached.
Mr. Leroux, can you go to page 39 of the staff report?
By the way, my screen's jumping like crazy. Is anybody else's jumping?
Yes,
bit.
yes.
Yeah. This, just the display, just the share, not you guys, but the share is jumping a lot.
Okay, scroll down. So left-hand
hallway.
side, there was the
Yeah.
door to the ADU,
Okay,
Yeah.
the common hallway connecting both.
okay.
And then below, if you scroll down to, I believe it's page 40,
Mm-hmm.
excuse me,
I don't have a
page 38.
So basically, I believe, Patrick, if you would confirm, you advised Mr. O'Donnell that with that hallway, he had, this is an accessory unit, whether new or existing, that is part of the primary structure, because it has
Yeah.
the hallway. I
Internal.
didn't, wait, yes.
Internal,
So
yeah.
that was Mr. LaRoe's view that he gave to Mr. O'Donnell. I would not disagree with that.
Well, and it also it in this view, it shows that it shares a common foundation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
More succinctly, I would just say that the
They're connected.
separation of these two structures, if you wanted to call them separate structures, is not great enough for under zoning to consider them to be separate. The grade plane would extend around both of these. The breezeway regulations that we have, which discerns between what a building is detached or when it's just happens to have a common open roof area that connects it. It doesn't seem to meet any of those. So I would have to say that this looks to be a single structure the way that it's laid out.
Great. Thank you, Patrick.
Okay. So Mr. O'Donnell, we've answered your questions. I think we're ready. And by the way, the reason I was able to answer you so quickly was not because Mr. LaRoe had whispered to me, but because the commission sat in a room and argued about that very issue about FAR versus square footage when we wrote the regulation. And what we got into was that whole thing about somebody building, a massive structure in the basement. I think that might have even been Nick. But so that's why it's square footage, because we wanted square footage. We wanted.
That analysis makes perfect sense to me, and I'll make a little note so I don't forget it as well.
That's
as
all right.
forming file.
We're all around to remind you. All right. So we'll see you when you come back.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I'll be leaving now, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Okay. Goodbye.
Bye.
All righty. So now we're going to go to 21 Vista. And I forgot who the applicant is for 21. It's Hegney? No.
Chris Bristol.
It's Chris Bristol. That's right. Mr. Bristol, would you raise your little, oh no, it's John Tessie.
I believe it's Mr. Tessie. Yeah, sorry.
Let's see if we can see his whole head.
Not sorry if it's Mr. Tessie. I'm sorry if I was speaking over you.
All right, here he comes. All right, let's see if we got not more than the top of his head.
Okay.
Oh, and
yeah.
Mr.
In fact, I'm now,
look
now
at
I'm cutting
you.
off the top of my head.
Yeah, look at you. Okay. Well, we were giving you grief the last time we could only see the top of your head. Okay, Mr.
Why you
DeAndrea, you
pushed me
have your
back?
hand up. All right. Well, we'll see what Mr. DeAndrea does. He's not accepting. There he is. Okay.
I think
All right. So our next discussion item is 21 Vista Drive LLC for a pre-application review for proposed construction of a new single-family residence and indoor athletic uses exceeding 1,200 square feet on a 2.114 acre parcel at 21 Vista Drive. Again, per our discussion yesterday, folks, this application is for the vacant lot. Okay, Mr. Tessie, you were listening yesterday?
I listened yesterday. Yes, I did. I wish I could have participated a little bit. It may have helped you move it along quicker. But I was talking to the screen a few times.
Well,
I'm like,
please do so now.
I'm going to do so now. And Mr. DeAndrea is part and parcel of the development team. I'll also say in attendance, and we'll see if you have questions of them, are our architectural team and your landscape architectural team also. Because it's they're here not to give a presentation, as this is just a pre-app, but to help you to understand the overall picture and again answer questions. The the overall plan here, and you could see it through some of the plans where you see both this lot, what you dub the vacant lot, we'll call it that, or the north lot, and the south lot, were put together for the purposes of an overall, and call it a family compound. We went through many iterations, and I say we, the entire team, to try to come up with something that obviously the family would enjoy and wanted to be respectful of a lot of aspects of our regulations, if not all of them. And I think it's good to put this up. This is the development plan. I was going to start with the existing conditions and move to that, but we can go with this. I don't know if you're getting it now, Patrick. That's the architectural set. And maybe
I'll come back.
you can pull up the GIS of existing conditions. But right now, we had to follow the regulations, right? And the regulations, and basically the discretion of the commission, the way this works in residential zones, don't ordinarily require a pre-application. But one of the exceptions that have been articulated is that if an application involves a special permit for an accessory use, may have it a little wrong, but that's my understanding, particularly an athletic accessory use, which this lot does have, then the commission wishes to see that application on a pre-app basis. And so we were following the rules, but of course it doesn't tell the entire story. And so you had to spend time, learning, and this is what I'm going to do now. So ignoring why we're here, but to give you the bigger picture to start, what I'll call the south parcel, or the developed parcel, contains the current main dwelling, the existing main dwelling, for the overall properties. The red is the subject parcel, or the north parcel, the vacant parcel. As the concept for this development matured, we have been put in a position here where the existing parcel containing improvements that total from the assessor's cards almost 30,000 square feet. From an FAR, it's probably in the mid-20s. It's proposed to be redeveloped in a way where the existing improvements would be removed. And that parcel would contain a total actually of about, again, from a zoning standpoint, about 6,500 or so square feet, with a main dwelling and 2 accessory dwellings. And so we're actually, in terms of development potential, that's a 3.5 acre parcel. We're talking about a parcel of land that could contain up to over 34,000 square feet of allowable floor area. But the choice was to develop that parcel in a way where we're basically proposing approximately 1/5 of what could be developed on a parcel. Now, that did not require, because there's no indoor athletic facility, a pre-app, but it's part of the overall plan that we have moving forward through the system to present to the commission formally. The 2 lots as they exist today are lots from a 1934, I believe it's 34, 38 subdivision. It's a subdivision that is recorded in the land records. It is not a subdivision that was approved either by the Department of Public Works or by the Planning and Zoning Commission. The lots are known on the subdivision map for the south parcel as lots 52 and 53, and on the north parcel it's lot 51. 52 and 53 have been jointly developed. Over the years, they have their own tax card and a tax account, and the vacant lot, the north lot, has its own tax account, obviously, also, and that contains, as noted by Madam Chair, 2.114 acres. That lot's proposed to be, now the subject lot's proposed to be developed with about 14,000 square feet of zoning floor area. The allowable floor area is, as proposed, about 21,000 square feet. So we're developing, in terms of that particular parcel as proposed from a floor area standpoint, about 2/3 or 70% of what's otherwise allowed. If you looked at it holistically in terms of all the property, it's interesting to note, we've got about 20,000, 21,000 square feet of floor area, zoning floor area, that where the zoning regulations, we're in the R20 zone. I don't think I said that. You probably knew it. We could develop actually about 50,000 square feet. So overall, you're seeing something that you hardly ever see, is a substantially undeveloped, lower development program for these obviously very valuable properties, desirable properties, given their location in downtown Greenwich and on the Long Island Sound. We do propose, as part of the program, to make an adjustment in the lot line between an existing north parcel configuration and the what I'm trying to say here. We're proposing a lot line revision, not much of a revision. It has to do a bit, Mr. Dean, you can testify, with septic systems. This area is not sewered. So we had to do some relocation there, and also to meet the desires for the development plan that was put together by the development team. So in essence, there are 3 applications, formal applications, to be presented to the commission: a lot line revision, not a re-subdivision, not a subdivision, a lot line revision, a site plan only for the south parcel with a CAM, Coastal Area Management Site Plan. As you discussed yesterday, it was, after consulting with staff, a potential administrative site plan application. We're not surprised, and I think it's appropriate, really, that you have to look at everything jointly if you so choose, because they're so interrelated. And that's perfectly acceptable to us. We understand that. I don't know if staff's made the decision or not.
It's our decision.
But we know what the plan, well, you deferred to staff, but overall, there's no objection to that. I just, for the record, stating that.
Okay, so you're good to come back with all of it together.
We're coming back formally. We're not coming back informally.
Well, when you come back formally, you heard our discussion.
Yeah, we
That
did.
we'd like to see the lot line revision, and the 2 applications together all in one meeting.
I thought that's what I said, but
And
yes.
I'm just,
No,
Mr.
no.
Tessie, the habit is, let's just make sure that we got everybody,
No, that's what I'm
so
saying.
you're in agreement. Okay,
No, I'm in agreement. I was just hoping I
Great.
said that. You said it better. Okay.
I doubt it, but go ahead. Okay, so, so basically, that was the greatest question that we raised yesterday. In
Right.
addition to, Ms. Jenkins is going to ask you some things in the pre-app that we'd like to give you some guidance on. I believe, if I'm correct, some of the things you
Sure.
said, Ms. Jenkins, yesterday.
Yeah.
But our key thing was we want to see it all together because of the coastal implications. And because Tracy pointed out that the law is changing anyway.
Yeah, I heard that.
And in 2
It's fine.
weeks, you'd have to do it, so you might as well do it.
This is one case, there, whatever word you want to use, symbiotically joined.
Yeah,
sometimes you can-
exactly.
Yeah,
And
that's
that's so
fine.
great. That's gracious and wonderful, and we very much appreciate. So Mary, you don't have your hand up, but I know you had questions yesterday. So do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I think a lot of the questions that I had are probably going to be more fully reviewable, but I just wanted to note a couple of things, which is the proposal with respect to the use of the vacant lot. The pre-app said basically you're moving it up toward the road and away from the water in order to get out of a flood zone, but you're moving it into an area that includes a lot of ledge and particularly a wooded area. So a lot of my concerns were that you're going to have a lot of site disturbance. And to the extent that you're demolishing on the other lot and building in a different location on the other lot. I think it would be very helpful, and I think we're finding this, Mr. Tessie, not only with this application, but with every application, a very clear, thorough tree inventory. Because it appears to me that because of the proposed location of the north house and the relocation of the south house, if you will, there are a tremendous number of existing trees on both properties that are going to have to be removed. So to the extent that we need to know that, we'd like to know what there is now, and hopefully it will still be there when you come in with a full application, and whether there can be any modification of that, because again, even on just the north lot, it looked to me like there were 22 existing living trees visible in the aerial, for example. It's a vacant lot, but that portion along the street has a lot of vegetation. So I'm beginning to sound a little bit like a member of the Conservation Commission on that.
It's quite a right. Just so you realize, we have filed all our applications. They're
Well, we know
pending.
that, and we know Bianca was
But
already
I should also
reviewing.
point out, we have a very thorough inventory taken from
Okay.
our arborist of all the trees, all, meaningful trees on the property. I believe that was submitted. If not, I'll certainly send it again. So that's in the file.
No, just do it all together when, you're gonna submit this one. You have filed this one already?
Yes,
Okay.
I
don't know, we've
It's
looked-
it's all pending getting
Okay.
through here, but we
Yeah, we're good.
anticipated that. We appreciate it. There's a total inventory. There's a
Okay.
total valuation of every tree. And
Okay.
most of the trees that are healthy and vibrant, we're actually keeping. But that'll be more explained by our
So, Mr.
design
I
team
think
in our arborist in the formal process.
I
So,
think
Mr.
part of the
Tessie-
problem
I'm
is so much of what we would normally ask is invisible to us so far, because all we have in front of us is the pre-app.
No,
Yeah,
I was just following the rules. If it were, I didn't have a
Understood.
choice.
Understood, Mr. Nest.
Okay, so Mr. Tessie, when, based on what, based on this change in the state statute and on what the governor did with, his environmental initiative, I think if I could take what Mary's comments were, we're gonna be looking in the coastals at the sensitivity, the environmental and ecological sensitivity, and that's a point that Mary raised. So I think those are our two
Yeah.
pieces of guidance. Bring it all to us and think about the combined impact, environmental impact. I know they're going to be two separate apps, but just think about the ecological impact on the coast given the change in the state statutes.
Yeah.
Anything else from the commission? Does anybody from the public wish to comment on this application? I'm moving fast here. Anybody on the public? No, but Mr. LaRoe would like to speak.
Go ahead. I wanted to make
I
a
would
couple.
just like to remind the applicant and jog the commission memory, applications that have a pending subdivision, there cannot be any grubbing, site work, tree removal while that application's pending. So
No, the team wouldn't think of doing that. We understand that. It's not a pending subdivision application. So
well,
it's fine, but
it's not a subdivision. It's a subdivision application until it's decided it's not.
it doesn't matter. We wouldn't, I understand what you're saying.
Well, I'm
But-
proud of you for that because some people would.
Oh, I know, that's not this team. It's not this team.
Okay.
It's not this
All
client.
right.
I did
So
want to
we're
point
glad.
out, just because there was some
Go ahead.
confusion on, as you looked at the engineering plans, but it's in the formal submission. We're proposing a change in the lines of the AE zone. So there's a Clomar application on file through Race Azure D slide.
Okay,
Familiar
walk
with-
us through that
So
at the time.
I will. I just wanted to clarify why people were looking, why are they rebuilding again in the flood zone?
Well,
We're
more
not.
the
We're looking to
point,
change the line and all those improvements will be outside of the flood zone if that's approved, which we expect a conceptual approval.
okay, but then you'll
prior-
have, so then you're just gonna have to get into why you're still, so if you're saying that it's not gonna be the AE anymore, you're gonna have to tell us why you're building to AE standards.
That, we'll get into that, but that's,
Yeah,
people
'cause you
wanted to
just
raise.
finished telling
look,
us
you
you're
want to
moving it.
Having
You're
said
moving
that.
it to the X, let me finish, please.
Oh, go
You're
ahead.
moving it, you're filing a Clomar so you can create that for the development to be in the X. And yet you're building to AE standards regardless. That doesn't make any sense. So just when you come back, tell us about that, because I don't
Okay, it's
understand.
it's very simple. It's prudent to do, but we'll
Yeah,
get
it's
more
prudent.
into it.
Okay.
We'll get into it. then.
Nick
Thank you
is,
for your-
Nick isn't talking right now, but he raised that same question yesterday.
Yeah, no, I
Okay.
heard it.
Okay.
That's why I wanted to
right.
address.
Okay, so we'll see you when you bring the whole package back to us. Thank you for agreeing to
when
that.
you
We're
put us
very
on.
grateful.
Comment, sorry,
But
Madam.
I
Public
did
comment.
ask for public comment
Oh,
already.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
I
Apologies.
didn't get any. Nobody raised their hand. I'll ask again, does anybody have any comments on 21 Vista Drive? Nope. Okay. Okay. So, Mr. Tessie, thank you for your being so succinct. I'll
I
report
tried.
to
Mr.
Mr.
Basili would have
Basili.
been proud of me. I was
He
trying
would
to
have
really
been proud.
articulate.
Well,
No,
you
you
give him an
got under the
opportunity.
wire of 20 minutes perfectly.
You did a beautiful job. Thank you, sir. All righty. So now we go to our last application.
No,
Yes,
Two more.
Two
We're
more?
on KRM, I believe.
KRM and then 221 River Road. Sorry. So our next application, and that's Mr. Haslam. Is he around, Mr. Haslam?
Yes, I'm promoting right now.
Madam Chair.
Hello. Okay, our next application is KRM Realty Group LLC for a pre-application review. This is for the proposed construction of a 3-story mixed-use building with 3 commercial units on the ground floor, 6 residential units on the second and third floor. The parcel is 0.2305 acres, and it is 14 parking spaces. And one of the units is proposed to be workforce. And Mr. McRae already has his hand up. He was waiting in the darkness. Mr. McRae, I guess you're not going to let Mr. Haslam talk. Go right
Oh, yeah,
ahead.
let him talk. He can go
Thank
through it,
you.
but I've got questions. Just let him spin through it.
Great.
Thank you. I would ask that if you could promote Kelly Dontis, who's the principal.
Yes.
Because I'm sure you want to hear from her in this discussion. And also Christian Fontanella, who's the engineer, because I'm sure you're going to have site plan issues. We did listen to the briefing yesterday.
Mr. Fontanella, I'm not seeing. Mr. Fontanella, would you raise your hand? And Kelly Dantas, would you? It says Lumina LiDAR.
That's Christian, yeah.
Okay, so.
Fontanella.
And then Ms. Dantas.
Right there.
There she is. She's in and
Yep.
she's got her hand up. Great.
I just
And
want
then-
to make sure to make clear, I'm not the principal of KRM. I was the owner of a Chocolate Gourmet, that was the bakery. I'm just being part of this, trying to help KRM to get the approvals. The site is in the market for sale after what happened. It's 5 years since the accident. We still didn't recover from the insurances. And we still have a litigation going on. Soon will be the trial. So I'm just here trying to help KRM with the approvals because I'm a builder in Connecticut for more than 10 years. I have been in this committee a couple of times approving all the projects, but I'm not the.
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, I'm not part or owner of KRM.
Okay, so Ms. Dantas, I should demote you because although you've been advising, you are not a partner and you're not an applicant.
No, I'm not an applicant.
Okay, great. Very good. Thank you very much for clarifying that.
Thank
So
you.
I'm going to move you back out. If you're staying and listening, please feel free to raise your hand if you want to add something. But
Okay,
we'll wait
thank
till
you.
the public comment. Okay, we're back to you, Mr. Haslund.
Yes, my misunderstanding as to.
And Thomas's iPad has the hand up. Who is that? Is that someone with you?
Thomas's iPad, no.
Okay, so we're going to wait until we get to the
I
public.
apologize. That's Tom Oneman.
Oh, it could be Tom Hyman. Okay, I thought only one of you was going to be on tonight. Well, I'm having a heck of a time introducing people here.
Christian, you're coming through on 2 devices. so
Yeah,
you-
please sign off of one device you're echoing. Okay, and I'll get him in.
And Paul Hopper and Peter Hart are the architects of this matter.
Okay, and you get that this is only a pre-app and you didn't need to bring the whole army?
I did. I'm just saying that they're listening. I
Okay.
wasn't. I thought that certainly with Christian and now Tom that they're the engineers that because you were talking about circulation particularly and the cuts and across lane and access yesterday that you might want to hear from them in this discussion.
Okay. We'll get there when we get there. Okay,
fine.
so let's just start with you, Mr. Haslund.
I had a few questions. Well, clearly we got the message from the commission that you're concerned about traffic on Cross Lane, and particularly with the dance studio in the back. There has been, to my knowledge, for the years I've lived in Cos Cob, which is over 30, I think, always been a curb cut out to Cross Lane from this property, at least when Commuter Cleaners was there. And I believe when the gas station was there, it was actually larger and that there was a planting bed that was put in as part of the conversion to commercial cleaners. But that's my own recollection.
You
It's
know,
not anything
one of the things is, and I didn't raise this yesterday, I was wondering where you are with where the site is with that remediation. I think the remediation pump is still there. Yes, hello, Mr. Oneman. The remediation pump is gone? It's
I don't
gone.
answer that.
Remediation has been completed with certification of completion. When you submit your final, please kindly make sure we have that because we know that there was long-standing. This is from when it was a gas station, folks, and there was a pump for how long, Mr. Oneman? You can unmute, you know, because I can't count all your fingers. 30 years?
Yes, 30 plus.
30 plus years. And now it's pulled and the ground has been certified clean?
Yes.
And okay, that's fantastic to know. All right, Mr. Haslund, boy, we're going to really turn this over to you now.
Yeah.
Quick talk.
I actually was involved in that litigation with Exxon 30 years ago, believe it or not, for Griff Harris and the Callahans. But in any event, yes, so I think we're near the end of remediation. But what we were trying to do with bringing the building forward was to try to maintain that streetscape with the Harris building. We know that you're sensitive to the Cos Cob look because having gone through the process with you for 100 East Putnam Avenue across the street, which I think has been very successful in its look and maintaining that appearance of Cos Cob. So that was the thought, and the circulation seemed to work with the existing curb cuts coming around the back of the building and putting the parking in the back there. But you've obviously are concerned about traffic from the dance studio, which I think came in after these curb cuts have existed for some time on coming out of this property. But
Yes, indeed. The dance studio came in way after. It
Yep.
came in at the time that they did the HO for the Griff Harris building.
Mhm.
And I believe we received it. I imagine you did. The owner of the dance studio sent an email in today.
I did see it. Yes.
Okay. Addressing that same concern that we had discussed in the briefing.
Yes, and talking about queuing on Cross Lane, I mean, the stop bar will actually be on our property when you are leaving. And if that light is red, the queuing is most likely to take place on our property. But you've indicated we need a parking and traffic study. We'll hire somebody to do that.
I don't know. I mean, this is an interesting thing because Patrick was saying, Patrick and Tracy, I forget who said it. Yes. Oh, no, you weren't at the meeting. So Patrick, the real question is, so in Miss Truesdale's email, it says that Mr. Camillo and James Michael helped change the length of that traffic light so that her dance studio could get out faster. So I'm wondering if it's really, and here's my question to staff, would we be good just with DPW traffic looking at this first? Because our concerns are about intersection safety. I mean, should we get a full-blown traffic study, or should we just see what DPW says and see if we can address the concerns ourselves? I'm just throwing that out to everybody. Because, you know, I guess the first thing before you go on that I did want to say is this application is consistent with two POCD objectives. One is the thriving commercial centers, because it would add 3 retail locations. And the other is the increased housing opportunities. So I know we're not supposed to look at the POCD in terms of special permit review. Mr. Haslam, privately, I've never gotten over that. But, you know, it is consistent with the POCD in those 2 and objectives. What are those 3 and 5, Dennis? So I'd like to see if we can resolve this concern about the exit driveway, which was raised yesterday. Not only the queuing from your business, but the queuing from the dance school, because they pull out onto Cross and they start at 1:45 in the afternoon. And I know, Nick, I'm sorry, you have a bunch of questions and I kind of jumped in.
Just
so
keep going, because just
I'm
keep going.
Okay, I'm hitting it. He's kind of shaking his head, but I guess I hit one of them.
No, you haven't taken, no. Just
Okay,
keep going.
he's got more. Okay, so the biggest concern that I had was viability of those businesses that you're proposing, that they have an entrance and exit that works, and that people aren't trapped trying to get out, waiting for that light, because there's no turn on red at that intersection. But with that, the second concern is that you not impact the business to the south or the safety of the children leaving the location. And I would say, ask staff what they think, if you need to do a traffic study, or if we can do it with Beta and DPW, whatever works efficiently and is cost efficient is fine. But that we address the concerns of safety of the intersection, success of the businesses, of all of the businesses, and the safety of the children, all equal priority. Patrick, do you have thoughts on that now?
My only addition to that, Madam Chair, is that maybe we make sure that DPW is okay with not having the traffic analysis. They may think it's necessary, but I understand completely what you're saying is we can possibly handle
If
it.
they want it, I'm fine with it. At the same time, we know from the email we got today that Jim Michael has been in touch with the DOT regarding this traffic light and worked with Mr. Camillo to change the timing of the light.
I'm surprised at that, actually, because when we were doing 100 EPA, East Putnam Avenue,
I know
a lot of discussion about that too, and whether it could be done. And
I know, but
I would say that that traffic study that was done for EPA might be helpful in this context. So not having to reinvent the wheel.
Okay.
We did model it to see what kind of traffic we were going to have at the intersection. Might be helpful.
Okay, but what you're really looking for is dance school, 3 businesses, can everybody get out? And the biggest question to your client is, are people going to run into a store quickly if they're going to wait 10 minutes? That's not 10 minutes, however long that light is, but I swear it's 10 minutes. I know it's not, but it is a long light. So it's really, part of it is what is going to help the businesses succeed, all of these businesses. Objective number 5, the commercial vitality of Greenwich, particularly the villages.
If we do a study to see if pushing the building back on the property rather than using the averaging to move it forward to kind of create that streetscape, if we push it back or do something, I think you said create a V, but I think you mean more like an L back there or something. So have the circulation all take place on and off of the post road rather than on cross lane. Just saying to study it. I had a question about interpretation of the regulations with
It's your
regard
turn to
to
interpret regulations.
LBR. And the rear yard setback, it says under the LBR in the schedule 6-205, minimum rear yard depth, that it shall be 10% of lot depth, but a minimum of 25 feet for commercial or mixed use building adjoining residential zone. This is not adjoining a residential zone. So the question is, do we have to have any setback whatsoever? It seems to me that there's no comma there after 10% of lot depth.
Oh, I'm
No
glad I
comma,
gave this to you, Patrick.
but a minimum.
So Mr. Haslund, that's, I getting into the technical details. That's what I was about to talk about.
Okay, great,
Perfect.
great.
So you have some strengths on this property and you have some real detriments. One question I need to know right away. The 14 spaces that are shown on the site plan are exclusive to the property being developed? Or are they
Yes.
shared?
We have 15 spaces. They're exclusive to the property being developed.
Okay, so in a sense, if I had a fence behind those spaces, nobody else could use them except for
Nobody
your
else
other
can
thing.
use them.
Okay,
Correct.
so understanding that, let's talk about detriments. It seems that cross lanes is the detriment. You could consider that actually your new driveway is a detriment. But as I'm looking at it, it seems that your existing driveway is aligned with a controlled intersection.
He doesn't have a new driveway in the plans.
He
Those are
does
both
have a new
existing.
driveway, and the existing
No,
driveway,
no,
which he's
no,
abandoning.
Nick,
Yes,
Mr.
look at the
Onaman.
plan.
Mr. Onaman, go ahead.
Yeah, these driveways are pre-existing. They always are. And
Yes.
we've had to widen them for the fire department. So the fire department asked us if we could widen the curb cut so they can
There-
get apparatus in and out. But that's
So
it.
Nick, I
Other than that,
walked
those
in.
are existing driveways.
Right, the existing curb cut on the post road is aligned with the traffic signal on the post road, isn't it?
No,
No.
You
No.
sure about that? Because I'm looking at a
Absolutely.
picture of it right now, and it's aligned.
absolutely.
No, it's not.
No, it's
No.
not. No.
What, ask that question again.
I'm
The
saying
traffic signal.
is the existing curb cut on the post road aligned with the existing traffic signal at the end of Taylor Drive? The picture I'm looking at shows that the existing curb cut from the post road is aligned with Taylor Drive and the traffic lights.
There is a traffic light at the post road where Taylor meets the post road.
Yes,
Right.
Yes.
and the
But it's
existing
not
curb cut.
aligned, it's not aligned
It's
with
not.
the curb cut.
No,
With which curb
there is
cut?
an offset. There
I'll
is an
say it a
offset.
different way, that there is no light functioning in this direction from that driveway. So if a person was to exit, they would exit at their own peril. They would not be exiting at the signalization.
Great, which is the next step. So understanding you have a potentially successful controlled intersection on the post road. Your thought of actually moving the building back to the back corner or the back property line, I think actually is something that you really should explore.
Should
Explore, because actually getting back to what Margarita had talked about is actually having viable businesses. As I see this, I'm parking behind the building, but I want to use the goods and services of the storefronts thing. I'm getting out of my car and walking all the way around the building to the front door. Totally inconvenient. Also, you have stuff in the back of the building itself. There's really no entrance into the retail spaces from the back of the building. So that idea of saying, I've got a blank slate here of a piece of property that's completely, void. Think out of the box. I'm saying toss the box out the window. Look at the building and put it in one corner, reconfigure your parking lot, use only one curb cut at the traffic light. That way you're not worried about actually going in and out of a cross lane. And you're just creating a situation where you have an opportunity to put parking in a convenient location, has successful businesses, a proper street frontage on the post road, which is I think what everybody's looking for. And at the same time, you can actually now create a buffer along the post road for landscape and a nice sidewalk, so on and so forth.
So here is the layout.
Go
on
to
the-
street, go down to the street
hold
views
on.
as if you're on Taylor Lane.
Okay, so Mr. Animan, about where my cursor is the curb cut?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, and here's the light.
The light is there. Yes.
Okay, here's the curb cut. Here's the other curb cut, easier to see.
Yes.
And here's roughly, you can see a little bit the color change right here where you step off the sidewalk, that the curb cut is like right in here. And where you can see because the greenery is not there. So you've got one curb cut here
Yes.
and you've got a light over here and you've got a light over there. What you do have is a different light here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's an offset intersection.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right. All right. So Nick's saying, bottom line, go back and reimagine this site and make it work. Just start, is that's what you said, right, Nick?
Yeah, I'm
Reimagine
saying,
this.
yeah, your parking spaces in the back are now included in your site. Look at the siding of the building based on if you can get in and out on that post road at that traffic light, those kind of things. I think actually just moving the pieces around the table a little bit may give you a more successful layout on the property. And disregard your assumed constraints of facades lining up, those kind of things. Think of it as a new site that actually you have an opportunity to make really successful, especially in a cornerstone property like this, cross lane, the post road, those kind of things. It could be set back with parking in the front. It's how does this best work so it's efficient and actually makes that a building successful. If you build a building and nobody wants to rent spaces, nobody can park and go there and use the goods and services, the whole thing is for naught.
I mean, we have the example. Ms. Dantas, now you're public, so you're gonna have to wait until the public gets called on. That said,
One more thing,
Miss-
actually,
yeah.
Mr. Haslam, actually, I think actually this is something that came up with the building across the street. The original design many moons ago had all of the retail facing the post road, but there was really no way to get from the parking in the back to the retail. The design team went and actually put in back doors so you can actually get to the retail from the parking lot.
Correct.
This is almost conversely, I think, push your building back so you can use the front doors to the retail.
Okay. All right, we'll take it under advisement. I'm a little concerned about using that light because of the non-alignment of the streets. And I'm not quite sure how that would work, but we'll look at it.
Well,
I think you gotta talk to DPW.
Right. You're doing a realignment already. So what's the geometry need to be so it actually works with that traffic light? Because it would seem to me a little bit of effort with the DOT and that traffic light may give you a really great opportunity to be able to get in and out of this site conveniently and most importantly, safely.
What opportunity did the DOT give?
The state of Connecticut.
When did they give the
No,
opportunity?
they haven't. No, I'm talking, they have the opportunity, not the state of Connecticut.
Oh, good luck. 'Cause, so what I know from Fred is that this is a battle every time we raise it because we ask for this stuff. Patrick knows this too. It'll be hard. Let's see what Jim Michael says. I think your first stop is Jim Michael.
Well, I also think that you've got a situation where we then have people exiting from cross lane competing with our exit from the property on the common light, which I'm not sure how that would work. But again, I'll leave it to more creative minds and engineers than I am.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Make it safe, make it work, and come back and tell us. Now, what I didn't calculate, because I did, is square feet. I'm sorry, Mr. Animan, you've had your hand up for a while and you're being so courteous and we're going full
Thank
steam.
you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. That's going to take a 4-stop light because they're going to have to discharge cross lane and then discharge our property. So that's a completely different traffic control than we have there right now. And that's going to be like an act of Congress to get that through with DOT
I
and
agree.
Route 1. I mean, it's going to be really difficult. What we have is a site that always historically went out on cross lane. We are going to keep traffic on our property. So when we were waiting for the light, we politely wait our turn. You can either pull out and trip the traffic light, or you can wait if somebody else has done so, and then you take your turn getting on. And all the traffic is going to be queued on our property. So this is historically what went on. When the bakery was there, I was there dozens of times. And absolutely, you wait your turn and you go out safely. It doesn't impact Route 1. If you're going to try to ingress and egress onto Route 1, that's going to be a whole kettle of fish. And believe me, it's going to be a problem. I think what we have now is very simple. It's a simple, the fire department has given us circulation. We've gotten all that approved. I think it's time to look at this as the existing site was always in off of East Putnam and then out off of Cross Lane. And I don't think that there's any safety issue here. I think everybody waits their turn. And if during, the 4 to 7 at night when the dance classes are getting out, you wait your turn. And if you have to queue, you queue on our property.
I don't know how to say this to you, but have you been to Greenwich recently?
I'm in Greenwich right now. And yes, I've been to Greenwich. I was in Greenwich today.
People get very impatient. And it's a concern for the viability of 3 businesses. The nice thing about when Miss Dantes was there, was that you went in, you had coffee, you had one of those little treats, and you sat there for half an hour and then you left. Depending on what business is there, you may not be willing to patronize it if the in and out is complicated. And that was the concern we were raising. I wanted the viability of these businesses. You're saying you can't make the entrance and exit on the Post Road?
Well, it's going to take an act of Congress because we're going to have to change the traffic controls with the offset intersection. There's going to have to be an additional green light because you can't interfere with Cross Lane, as Chip mentioned earlier.
Why can't you just widen the existing driveway?
We can widen it. No, getting in and out off of our site is not the issue. It's really the traffic controls. We can
No, getting in and out. What if you just entered and exited from the Post Road on the existing entrance driveway that you're proposing?
You mean without a signal, without the benefit of a signal?
Yeah. I mean, that's it. I mean, it's just like
exactly where the entrance driveway you're proposing now is.
Yeah.
You pull in there and you exit through there.
Well, it's like Wild Acres, they have a no left turn policy because the left turn is really where you're going to get stuck.
Right.
If people only make rights out of there, it's fine. But
right. And you're going to have a sign that says that, and every now and then there's a lunatic that tries to turn out the left. The DOT does not, we're not allowed to have those no left turn signs. That's like not something they do. But technically you can get in and out and turn right, and you got lots of places to turn. You can turn around anywhere in the area. There are good turnaround areas. So it's something to explore. I'm not going to redesign this for you. Not what I do. And I probably, Mr. LaRoe.
I'm just going to lower my hand. Never mind.
Why? Go ahead.
I have to just say, as a planning function, the ideal scenario for any lot on Route 1 would be to have no curb cut and access onto a street that's signalized so people can come and go that way. So in this sense, the property set up now is
I know this.
Somewhat ideal.
Yes.
So I'm not sure suggesting no curb cut on Cross and having people go in and out of unsignalized entrance on there's just not a lot. There's lacking some of the principles that that make it not a great idea, right? So
right, I understand that, but your problem then is that you're exiting it onto a one-way street with a very limited light. This is not your normal, we want to eliminate curb cuts on the Post Road scenario. This is why what we talked about yesterday, normally we get it. You don't want to enter and exit from the Post Road. We get that. And we did that. We just did that on Brookridge. We took out the Post Road. Right. We did that on purpose because we know the DOT goal is to eliminate that from the Post Road and to reduce the accesses. But what do you do in this situation where you've got a bunch of little kids and they all run around coming out of dance class? And you've got a bunch of traffic that is not supposed to queue on Cross Lane, but already does. You've got the people who are cutting across from Strickland to do the pickup queue. and you've got 3 new businesses up a little bit in a driveway that's maybe, Mr. Onaman, 6 feet away from the dance school, not even from their property line. It's probably more like 30 feet from their driveway. So how do you balance that? Yes, from a planning point of view, I totally get it, but how do you make sure the intersection doesn't get more dangerous? Your businesses can both thrive, all thrive, and your kids are safe. And if
Yeah,
you come back and say to us what Patrick just said, then so be it. Well, but we're asking the question.
Yeah, and I think it's important to find out what changes, if any, were made to that signal there, because my limited understanding of this intersection is that it functions as a unit, with Cross, Taylor, and Strickland Road. So if there's any attention or indifference given to the cross lane, that probably changes all the parameters that we kind of think of when we're looking at ingress and egress on Route 1.
Yeah, I mean, that's just step back, what Nick said. Step back, go to a blank slate and come back and just say, what is the best thing we can do here? And it is what it is then.
Okay, well, we'll study it, but I have to say that
You have your doubts.
the additional discharge of our parcel onto Route 1 is going to make traffic control very, very difficult.
Okay.
And right now, if we use existing traffic control, we're only going to queue on our own property. So it is safe.
And there was a gas station there for many decades, and then the cleaners there, and then the chocolatier, whatever. And the dance studio came after all that. So
yeah, I know, but it's a different. I know.
Tough. It used to be a storage facility for Callahan Moving Company.
I know, and it was horrible, Mr. Haslam.
It was ugly, but it didn't.
Those vans, those semis came barreling up Cross Lane. It was terrifying. When people complain about the dance studio traffic now, they have no idea how terrifying Joyce Moving was. However, yes, you're right. There was a gas station, there was a dry cleaners, and there was Chocolate Latte. But here's the thing: it's a different planet now. The mortality per vehicle mile traveled is at all-time highs. It's finally started to decline. We're talking about excessive speeds. We're talking about violation of traffic lights. We're talking about a lot heavier traffic in town. You're talking about a different world. What we did 20, 30, 40 years ago is not what we should necessarily do now. Let's just give it a thought. Maybe this is the best solution, but let's just make sure we've thought it through. I mean, we want to, I think I speak for the commission in saying, hey, guiding principle number 5, thriving commercial centers. We want to be supportive.
Okay, we'll take a look at it.
Mr. Onaman wants to add something.
Yeah, I'm just going to come out of left field and say that DEP did have a requirement to sort of move the building forward from the back of the property due to the cleanup. I'm just throwing that in there for consideration.
But you said it was clean. If it's clean, they can't have that requirement anymore.
It is clean, but I just got a text message from the owner saying that DEP had some kind of requirement, but it is fully clean.
You can push back on that if it's clean. Setback from the, no. So I don't.
I will look into that more.
Yeah, if it's clean, it's clean. They don't have a right to ask that.
I will look into it and get further detail.
I don't think. I'm making that up.
I just got a note from the owner, so I just wanted to throw that in there.
Or she would know. Okay, let's turn to public comment.
Oh, I did. Before you do, Madam Chair, I just who should I look to for interpretation of 6-205 with regard to the rear yard setback? Then is that you, Pat, or should I go to the CEO? Or
Nick and Patrick both commented on for you.
I didn't get this.
Oh, you got cut off. I'm sorry, Patrick.
Well,
go ahead.
Mr. Macri used his privilege. That's fine. I believe that 10% would be applicable here. That's my understanding of the regulation. I understand reading it again with your comma. It's a fair point. But I've understood that the 25 is from a residential zone, and the 10% of lot depth is for everything else.
Okay.
So.
Thank you.
Okay.
I would just add this out there, and I know when the design team talked to me before you submitted, we alluded to this, but there is also an opportunity if there's if some of the regulations are prohibitive, going the affordable housing route could make it a little bit different if you went with the trust, but I understand that if
It means going to 2 units.
that would be the first thing, but
So if you did 2 below market units, you could work around our worker, you could be in an assisted development.
Right, okay. It's consideration.
I mean, and even if you did 1, you could go talk to them.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were hopeful that we would actually use your 6-110 in this case, but
Yeah.
okay.
Talk to them.
it's just the lot being a inverted triangle or whatever is yeah, I understand why you're having some difficulty fitting things on the site. It's
Right.
it's not a it's obvious, but
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna just go quickly to resident public comment. Again, this is what was Choco Latte and is now 121 East Putnam. It's an application for a 6-unit residential building with 3 retail locations on the ground floor and 15 parking spaces. Anybody from the public wish to speak? Okay, the hand went up and down. There it is. Miss Dantas. Okay, and then after that, who else from the public wishes to speak?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. I just lost you. Mr. Walsh, did you have your hand up? Yes, there he goes. Okay. Ms. Dantas, go ahead.
I just have some comments regarding when we had the Chocolate open. The only issues that we had with the parking was more regarding the dance studio that actually was using our parking. We filed some complaints about that. The moms use it to park there and they go for a coffee in another place. While they were waiting for their kids. Also, their parking lot is much bigger than ours. And they have an exit in the other street. I forgot the name, Streetland, something like that. So this site is very similar to ours, but it is like 2 or 3 times the size. So, but I just wanted to bring it up at this that we had when we had the Chocolate open. And also, I think that what the KRM, to be honest, at this point, the KRM really doesn't care much what will be there. The site is for sale. We are just trying to address something that the city brought up, that they needed more housing. And anyway, KRM have no way to rebuild it. They don't have the funds. So about your comment about the DEP, what I know is that even though I think that mobile got to clean up as the DEP standards, because the environmental issue was there for so long, the DEP still requires monitoring wells on the site to make sure that the environment will not come back. So it's a requirement from the DEP, have nothing to do with KRM. I think that the engineer can reach mobile and get more information about that. That's why the building had to be moved to the front. The building only had to be demolished because the car crashed into our.
Yeah, we remember that.
Yeah, 80 miles per hour, and they had a very severe structural problems there. Another thing that I wanted to bring it up is even with Chocolate, when we were there, most of the people just grab and go. Those stores that they are proposing, they are less than 1,000 square feet each. So have no way that you can have tables or anything like that as per Greenwich regulation anymore anyway. So it's more the concept of grab and go. So mostly of the parking will be empty anyway. It's like the person will stop, grab whatever it is that the store will be selling, and they will have to leave. I just wanted to bring it up.
Okay, so, and they may come back to us, Ms. Dantas, and say, look, we looked at it and we think the businesses are going to work fine with the queuing. They will talk, Mr. Haslam, to their neighbor at the dance studio who wrote an email with concern about her queuing and what would happen. The dance school has now put signage on that parking lot for them. And well, nobody's been using Ms. Dantas' property because it's fenced off for what, 2 years now, Ms. Dantas?
5 years.
5 years.
I know.
Oh, that's right. It was in the middle of COVID, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean,
we
yeah.
try everything, but unfortunately,
Yeah.
the litigation is still going on, and
Yeah.
Chocolate is out of business, and KRM also is out of business.
Okay.
Have been carrying the property all this time, paying taxes, all expenses.
Yeah.
Insurance didn't cover for that, so they have no choice other than sell.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Dantas. Mr. Walsh, you're next.
Yeah.
I think Ms. Dantas, okay, Mr. Walsh, if you would unmute. Mr. Walsh? Wait, he's usually techie. Mr. Walsh, if you would unmute, you're our last public speaker. Mr. Walsh, oh, he's gone.
You lost it.
Oh, he's back.
Hello?
Yes, you're good. Go ahead.
Sorry, my phone was on the wonk. Anyway, James Walsh, COSCOB. I joined in late, so I didn't hear everything that was going on. But I think this project, if executed properly, will be a benefit to the neighborhood, right? It'll take a less than stellar corner currently and can really be integrated well into the streetscape there, and hopefully it will carry on the similar vibe that other buildings have in the area, mimicking the firehouse, the school, some of the other structures around there. But I guess my concern is somebody who walks my dog a lot in the neighborhood, my kids walk to and from school, is, with the part that I kind of came in on, the traffic entering and exiting the property. I think it would be great to have this building as close to US 1 as possible to kind of keep that continuity with the streetscape. But is there a way to get creative with the entrance and exits? So maybe you don't have to, right? Maybe the solution is to have the entrance and exit on US 1 where you're directly across from Taylor Drive. You can add, Taylor Drive discharges at a different time than Cross Lane, right? So there will be no competition there, right? So when the Taylor Drive light turns green, the light exiting this complex would turn green at the same time. So the vehicles would get the same sequence there for the light. And I don't think they'd compete with Cross, but I'm not an expert by any means in that. Or is there, and also, that might give you more kind of parking or more room to expand the building if you remove one of the two curb cuts. Just, it would be great to kind of see, how, is the current setup the best way, I guess, for this property? Or is there another more creative way to make the flow of traffic in and out of it safer for all users in the neighborhood, for the vehicles that are coming and going, as well as the pedestrians, the cyclists, et cetera. But like I said, I think it's if done properly and executed properly, it'll be a great attribute to the neighborhood and really help the continuity of the streetscape there at the corner of Cross and US 1. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lowe. Mr. Walsh. I'm so sorry. All righty. Okay, I think
Please
that's
don't
it.
insult him.
I won't. Anybody else from the public wishes to speak on this application, 121 East Putnam? No. Okay, so we're good. We want to be flexible. We want to be open. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but we have concerns. I think that's the bottom line. Anybody want to add anything to that?
No.
Okay, I understand that we've gone over our allotted time and people are starting to want to move on, but Mr. Haslam, is there anything you want to ask us?
No, thank you. I think we've got some work to do.
I believe, the deep thing is really confusing now, Mr. Oneman, because for Ms. Dantas said that they had put something in case of the contamination coming back. So who knows? So you'll look into it and you'll find out, right?
I will. I will.
All right. Okay. And you'll see what you can do. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay. And there's Mr. Hagney. Boy, Mr. Hagney hasn't been around much tonight.
He almost got away scot-free, but he offered to.
Oh, shoot. I have to
our
go into
agenda.
the revised agenda. Hold on. I only have the old one. Hope I got the right one here. Nope. Mm. All right. There's Mr. Hagney. Okay, I'm caught up now. Our last discussion item is 221 River Road LLC. This is for proposed demolition of an existing two-family house and construction of a new two-family on an undersized lot on a 7,052 square feet parcel at 221 River Road Extension in the R6. Go ahead, Mr. Hagney.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the commission. For the record, Tom Hegney on behalf of the applicant. As you said, we're tearing down a two-family house, building a new two-family house with 1 2-bedroom and 1 3-bedroom unit. We're proposing to locate it farther back from the road than it currently is. It's currently 18 feet from the front property line. We're proposing to build it at 25. Because of the deficient right-of-way width, the setback is actually 35 feet that's required under the regulations. The discussion yesterday, though, I thought was interesting, and I asked Mr. Rydberg to do an analysis on how much of the building is within that setback now as it currently is, and what it would be with what we're proposing. And he came in with it's actually the third page of our presentation material. And he showed that the volume of the existing building versus the volume of what we're proposing, the proposed volume is actually 481 cubic feet less. So we are making it more conforming.
But we were asking about the setback, not the volume.
Yeah, what's that got to do
Well,
with
the setback goes from 18 feet to 25 feet. So it's going to be 7 feet farther back than it currently is. And so as we discuss the issues of nonconformities, this would be more conforming. And what I wanted to show, and what is in the upper right-hand corner of the plan that Rudy put together, is that it's less volume within that setback than what exists now. And if that is something that the commission would find acceptable, then I won't have to go to the Board of Appeals.
No,
and if
because,
you don't feel that way, then I do have to go to the board.
No, because the volume is reduced would not address the issue in my mind. Who has their hand up? Nick does. Nick, go ahead.
So Mr. Hagney, the required setback for the deficiency is 35 feet?
Yes.
Okay, and that goes right through the front unit.
True.
But
Yeah,
you're pushing it forward, so it's actually, it crosses around 25 feet, which would be the actual setback without the deficiency?
That's correct.
Okay. And the width of the building at that point is the same in the same footprint of the existing house?
Pretty close. That's what Rudy is showing. If we enlarge that just a little bit more, you can see he has a dashed outline of the existing footprint in comparison to the footprint that we're proposing.
Okay, so a good portion of maybe almost half of the existing house is over the required setback.
Yes, that's
of
true.
35 feet. And then now the new building is only a quarter of that over the setback. That's how I'm looking at it here.
Correct.
So you're
It's
less
10 feet of it is only
right. You're
uh,
less non-conforming
over.
to the existing conditions.
We are,
Right.
yes, we are less non-conforming, correct.
Okay. Now, in the back, you have a 25-foot setback. That's the legal setback for that particular property line?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
this is in the R6 zone.
Okay, and you've got your 10 feet and 5 feet. Okay, great. So now I can understand the sighting. We didn't have this yesterday. The parking, yeah, we got to do something else with that completely. I've got 2
We're
garage spaces and I've got 5 cars. The calisthenics to move these cars around to get everybody in and out, I think it would be a nightmare. I have 2 garage spaces and one of them I don't think is usable. You're showing 2 tandem spaces that one car has got to move out of the way if it's parked there. So it's very, very, very tight. And I think actually having the cars moving in and out, especially where this particular site is in comparison to Valley Road, and that corner might be a little something really consider or think about how is a better way to do this.
No, we had looked at parking in the front yard, but the commission has been clearly frowning on that recently with the number of applications.
Yep. Including Mr. Macra.
Exclusively, Mr. Macra, yes.
Not exclusively.
I think it's actually taking a look at that. Yes, you have the 5 spaces that you're required for. It's just more of the the geometry of this driveway, where the building's sited. How convenient is it to be moving all of these cars around to get the 5th car is buried behind 2 others, and getting in and out of the unit number 2's garage. If the cars are there, nobody's going anywhere.
Yeah, we've looked at a couple of different ways. We'll continue to study this before we bring it back to you.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a problem.
I know. One more question.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Had you contemplated actually taking advantage of the nonconformity of the garage in the back? That's actually closer to the line as well.
We hadn't looked at that, but actually Rudy brought that up when we were talking earlier today. So maybe that's something we can look at as well.
Right, because it would seem going back into the site may open up some space and maybe give you some opportunity for parking in the front yard that we could possibly take a look at.
All right, that's another alternative that we can review.
Great.
All right. Ms. Jenkins.
Yes, Mr. Hegney, you will not be surprised to find out that I have the question I always have, which is, of course, you're reducing the nonconformity, but obviously I think the variance is, not to advise you, but to say that a variance is appropriate for that. But I just want to confirm one thing. That is the only nonconformity involved in the proposed building?
That's correct.
Okay. And the other thing is just a request. If you can fill in the permitted numbers on the application in the future.
Yes, please.
I know our staff can do it, but they're overworked and underpaid. And it would be helpful for me just to have all of that information on the cover page.
We brought this in as a pre-app. We wanted to get your read on it. The most important thing that we wanted to discuss, or the 2 things we wanted to discuss, was the setbacks and the parking. So
and I understand
we've
that,
gone
and having
through that
actually
with you.
have, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but actually having the permitted numbers, which you have to have because you just represented to me that you don't have any other nonconformities. So you know what those numbers are, and it would be helpful to share them with us because we simply don't have the time. That the staff could do it, but you probably have them in your file if you've already reached that conclusion. I'd appreciate sharing them, even on a pre-app,
Yeah, I didn't have them yesterday. I have them today, and that's why I can answer your question affirmative.
Okay.
That's great. Thank you, Mr. Hagan.
So yeah, that's the guidance. ZBA. Yeah, I just didn't have clarity yesterday when I asked the question, and you heard Mr. McRae on the parking, and I think Mr. Lowe echoed that. Mary agreed on the nonconformity. Anything else from the commission? Mr. LaRoe.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Hegney, this little finger extension over here, does this not reach the street?
I don't believe so. And its width is very narrow because that's not being counted as part of our lot area.
Wow, interesting. Thank you, Patrick.
Okay.
Okay, anybody from the commission wish to speak on, anybody from the public wish to speak on this application at 221 River Road Extension? Kindly raise your virtual hand. Nope. Just a handful of stragglers. Most everybody was here for the chocolate latte. We had quite a lot of people for chocolate latte. Okay, so Mr. Hegney, I think we've answered your questions. I don't have anything further on it. Anybody else? No? Okay, so we'll see you when you come back.
All right, thanks.
All righty.
Bye.
Okay, and now we got one decision. And hey, we're going to be on time to dinner, almost. You didn't put that we were eating dinner, Patrick. Does that mean we don't get dinner?
It's up to you.
Okay. And no, you haven't said a word the whole night, have you? Oh, because you have so reception, right? But you were okay where you were, right? Okay. So we have one decision item and we have our valiant secretary.
Valiant secretary. I got to write that
yeah.
one down too.
Yeah.
That one's in the book. Okay, what are we doing here? Doubling Road, 19 Doubling Road, final site plan special permit, PLPZ 2025-308. The applicant is requesting approval to construct additions, including an expansion of the current fitness facility, a new family grill, extension of the south-facing open-air main porch with an open colonnade below, in addition to the existing upper floor kitchen for staff break room, with associated site infrastructure and drainage improvements on a 148.25 acre property located in the RA1 zone. Whereas the required project came to the commission as a pre-application at the 3/25/25 public hearing, commission finds that zoning issue comments on 9/10/25 indicating no comment to the proposal. Sewer division issue comments on 9/9/25 requesting applicants submit a signed letter acknowledging their receipt of their P&Z comments. ARC reviewed the project at their 6/18/25 meeting, indicating the applicant is to move forward to P&Z. DPW drainage issue comments on 9/12/25 indicating resubmittal prior to zoning permit. Health Department issue comments on 9/5/25 noting the Health Department approved the project and plans for the kitchen renovation would need to be submitted to the Health Department for approval prior to submission to the Building Department for permitting. Conservation issue comments dated 9/11/25 and noted soil and erosion controls, including proper tree protection, should be installed prior to any soil disturbance. Tree protection should be at the drip line or further where feasible to protect the existing trees that are to remain. The root zone disturbance should be minimized. Greenwich Fire Department issue comments 9/10/25 requiring means of egress shall be continuously maintained free of all obstructions and impediments for full instant use in the case of fire or other emergency during construction. EMAC issued comments dated 9/10/25 indicating an unfavorable review. And Wetlands issued a permit needs questionnaire dated 6/12/25 indicating no action required. Therefore, a motion to approve the application for final site plan, noting the following. Prior to zoning permit, the applicant shall update the site green area calculations to represent the current approved project and previously approved Padel courts under PLPZ 2025-051. Per sewer division comment, the applicant submitted a letter dated 9/12/25 acknowledging comments. Prior to zoning permit, the applicant shall provide a comprehensive soil and erosion control plan, which shall be installed prior to the issuance of any zoning building permit. All S&E controls should be in conformance with Connecticut DEP March 30, 2024 guidelines for S&E control. Prior to zoning permit, the planning and zoning staff to review final landscape plan for native, non-native species alternates. Prior to zoning permit, the applicant shall provide the backlight, uplight, and glare ratings on all proposed lighting fixtures. and the applicant to demonstrate compliance with Chapter 6B of the Town of Greenwich Code of Ordinance for noise. Question I have for this applicant is to just demonstrate that to who?
I think what it would be is shall submit their hours, help me word this, you guys, hours of operation of maintenance.
Grounds maintenance?
Yes, and demonstrate of grounds and golf course of maintenance or whatever way staff wants to, fine tune that. To demonstrate compliance with the noise ordinance.
Okay.
Because what we're really looking for is no 5:30 a.m. Madam Jenke.
Yeah, do we want to say that they've represented there'll be no increase in membership?
Great point. On a great motion, by the way, Nick got all the stuff.
Yeah, wow.
And then quickly pulled it together. Yeah, so I think that would do it. Anybody else? Does that work for the noise? Dennis, are you good with the noise? You need to unmute because you're our newly reappointed. Go ahead.
Yeah, I can't change the noise ordinance. I think the issue, you said it, just not the decibels, it's the hours of operation.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether you can put that in that or not, but
yeah, we can ask for it. I mean, we can ask for it.
Submit hours of ground maintenance demonstrating compliance with the noise order, right?
Yeah.
So we know that it's according to noise ordinance 8 to 6, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Yeah.
Weekends, yada, 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 depending on what kind of tool and kind of work you're doing.
Yeah. And then in the because we're in this tough spot where people complain to us, but we don't enforce. Okay. Do you have a second?
Second.
Mr. Yeski has seconded. Ms. Jenkins, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Lowe?
Aye.
Mr. Yeski?
Aye.
Mr. McRae?
Aye.
This is when he surprises me and says nay. Alban is also aye. And with that, the motion passes 5-0, and we are done and it's 7:07.